Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 1 of Spicy Rule. I'm joined here with our dungeon master, Sam. How you doing, Sam?
I am doing well, Billy. How are you today?
I'm doing great, and I'm really excited to get into character and test out Doomor the 17th and see what he's made out of.
This will be we'll find out his metal, his core,
his
strength,
his iron ore.
His iron ore. We'll find out what makes him tick along the way as well, which we established last time. Actually.
Exactly. So, if you're joining us on this episode, we did an episode 0 last week where essentially we created the character Doomor, and Sam set up a little bit of the setting and where Doomor will start. But we'll always start these episodes with a brief recap from last week so people have a context. And I have this quick little write-up that kind of tells you who Doomor is. So I'm going to go through that. So Doomor the 17th is a battle-hardened 18-year-old human fighter known for his immense strength, resilience, and unshakable focus. Orphaned in a devastating house fire that left his arm and leg scarred, Doomor was adopted by the dwarves who once traded with his blacksmith father. Raised in the mines and forge halls beneath or beside the mountains, he developed not only formidable combat skills, favoring a massive great sword and a dwarven-taught warhammer, but also a deep fluency in dwarvish customs and language. Now clad in studded leather armor and bearing his signature iron bar boot helmet etched with 17 or XVII, Doomor wanders the world as a stoic and loyal protector, often found guarding dwarven caravans or carving his path through the chaos of adventure. His disciplined, blunt demeanor masks a quiet reverence for legacy and loss, and he fights not only for coin, but for the memory of the family and culture that forged him.
God damn. I've got a tear in my eye. That poor guy.
Don't cry for me, Argentina. Don't cry for me. Wait, what is the name of this place? The continent? No.
The continent is what the name
croissant.
Of the whole... The croissant, yeah. It looks like an upside-down croissant. Again, when I came up with this setting years and years ago, because it's an amalgamation of 3 or 4 ideas I've had over the years, plus a bunch of other things kind of all at one. And I'll also say right now, a lot of stuff you run into, you'll be like, oh, this feels a little bit like this fiction or that. It's not all wildly original, but...
That's fine.
Yeah, but yeah, when I first drew the thing, I was like, oh yeah, it's really cool. Then years later, I'm like, wait, this is like an upside-down croissant. I prefer the term crescent, like a crescent moon pointing down, but croissant is just French for crescent, so I guess we're right there. It is, right? Anyways, that's not the point. Yeah. Right, so that is who he is, and where we last left off, he left the halls of Ibak, which is the name of the Dwarven Enclave, and he has been... One of the things that you mentioned in the previous episode was your background story was that your parents were killed in a fire that burned down a thing. And what happened was, I've fleshed this out a little bit, so work with me here. There was you come from you were originally born in a small town called Linnick, which is sort of in the middle part of the kingdom of Ustland. That's the kingdom that Ibak and the dwarves are at the northern part of. And it was just a small village on a normal trade route, a little bit more than a village, maybe a town kind of thing, but calling it a town was a little generous. And your father was a smith for the town. Your mother was, I think she did washing or something. She was just kind of female roles at the time were more about maintenance, and you didn't have a full-on fields or anything like that, but you had a small garden and stuff like that, so she was basically carrying everything, but most of the income came from your father's smithy. And then one day there was a raid for some unknown reason. People came in and burnt the town down. Now Linnick is a little off the beaten path. It's sort of on the midway between major cities, so the area around was a little rough, and some bandits probably just got a little out of control or whatever and decided to raid your town. Or did they? Because one thing you've always carried with you is a tiny scrap of cloth with some kind of symbol on it that you don't know. And what the symbol looks like is like a fern leaf, but painted in red on a dark blue background, like a royal blue. Like, the cloth was faded. It wasn't a fresh printing, but you could tell that it was a fern leaf done in red on a dark blue background. So you've always had that symbol with you, and when your dwarven adoptive parents took the symbol with you, like came and found you right after the raid and stuff like that. It was pure timing by the gods, you might say, that they came by when they did. Otherwise, I mean, you were 13 at the time. You could have been, so life would have been very tough for you. You probably would have survived, but it would have been tough. But they came, they took you, and took you back to Abak. Now, over the years, since you've grown up, over the past 5 years, they've been sending out, your adoptive parents have sent out they're traders, as we mentioned in the last. So, sorry, I'm doing a little bit of a sort of recap on the broader things outside of Doomor as well. I should have been more specific about that. And so these traders have been sending out caravans like they normally do to trade dwarven goods with the human kingdom and other kingdoms further south. But during this time, your father's also been sending out, like, asking his people to ask about the symbol and see if anyone recognizes it. And fortuitously, as your 18th birthday approached, one of them returned and said, yes, somebody I talked to recognized this symbol as belonging to some group in the southern part of the kingdom of Ustland, but not part of, it's not a heraldic, I'm probably mispronouncing that word, but like it's not like a symbol on a coat of arms or something like that. It's not like a proper family symbol, but there's something that he said, like, yeah, I think I've seen that. It's got vaguely negative connotations, but with a group far to the south. Which is odd, because Linnick is actually pretty much in the middle to middle north of the kingdom. Like, if the kingdom is basically, you could almost, like, if you wanted to really draw it roughly as a rectangle. I'll try and provide some maps and stuff like that going forward with to give you a little bit more detail. And Linnick is sort of near the top. That's why trading with the back wasn't so rare. The caravan that went all the way south and found out about the symbol is actually probably the furthest they've ever sent the caravan. So, leaving it back, you have the symbol with you. You know somewhere in the south is this group. They didn't really have much more information. It was like secondhand, it's like, oh yeah, I recognize this from even further south than the caravan went. And so you're heading south down what they called the Coast Road. I mean, it's not a very original name. Most roads were named after what their feature was, because it kind of goes down from a back and then heads out towards the west coast, bypassing a section of land and swamp called the Rain Hills. And it takes about 8 days to travel south. And as we join you, you've now spent almost a full 10-day on the road walking, because you don't have a horse. And dwarves are not horse riders for the most part, so they have like pack horses and like large work horses that help with the farms that are on the sort of hills and slopes of the back, but they don't have riding horses, sort of thing. So you spent the last 8 days traveling south. You've had plenty of provisions given to you by your family and stuff like that. You've got a standard sort of bedroll, tent. You've probably, you might want to mark this on your character sheet. You've probably gone through about, I'd say, a gold, just subtract 1 gold in paying, like, farmers for a place to stay for a night in the barn. There was one tavern you stayed at about 4 days in, that kind of thing. But it hasn't been super rough living, but it hasn't been the life of luxury either. You've been spending, like I said, you're about 8 days of traveling through what would be rough countryside. Some farms to the right, but I guess the right, because you're heading south, is west. To the east, it's mostly, like, you've been basically following through this long river that kind of comes out, that keeps, like, tributaries of it keep going off towards the coast, which is even further to the east. And the land around here is kind of marshy, small towns, like, small villages, like, and the locals have been kind of, they're used to seeing caravanners travel through from the dwarves, but they're not super friendly to the locals. It's been rough living. You've been sleeping in barns. One night I said you were able to find a tavern, but most of the time you've been sleeping, like, rough. A couple times you slept just, on the edge of a field under a tree kind of thing at night, sort of thing. And but the land is fairly settled, so you haven't been harassed. There hasn't been a lot of problems. So on the afternoon of the 8th day, you come across a hill, and the ground starts sort of steeps. The road goes down into what looks like almost a... I'm not sure if valley is the right term, but like there's a bay, a very large bay on the coast, and there's a settlement there that is like seems like an actual town, like an actually fairly big town. And so you probably, I don't want to tell you what to do, but you might want to stop there and see what's going on. So what do you feel like doing as you approach the town?
Stonesbeard, this sack is heavy.
Oh, it is. You are tired. You could use a drink or a place to sleep in. The last couple of nights have been rough sleeping, so you might want to...
Sorry, what do I see right now? I see...
basically, you come up on the top of a bluff, like it's sort of a large hill that leads down into sort of a very wide depression based around a very large bay that stretches probably about... To walk from one end of the bay to the other would take almost a full day kind of thing. Like it's just almost going to the horizon. And that's a full day of like daylight travel, not like 24 hours, but like, 10, 12 hours. It's sort of wide circled into, and beyond you see the actual sea. The water is remarkably dark blue, which means it's a very deep bay. Small ships, like small fishing vessels mostly, like tiny 1 or 2 man junks and stuff like that, and small clippers go in and out of the thing. But for the most part, like you don't see a lot of large naval travel. The port... It's got wharves and docks, but it doesn't look like a major port at this point. So, yeah.
So Doomor wants to go towards that small village.
It's more of a town. I'd say it's like a medium-sized town.
Okay. Yeah. With an eye out for some sort of tavern or a meeting place where you could find like an inn to stay or at least get information for work.
So when you approach the town, it's not walled or anything like that. It's just basically structures start appearing out of the small, like there's some minor farms. It's not really great farmland, so it's more like, just some buildings, some little garden plots and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And as you get into the town, you see that around the harbor, there's like a large, like most of the town is focused around the harbor. And when you get into that part of town, so all you're seeing is just like little structures, like little shops, stalls. There is actually, you see a smithy, which is bringing back a tear to your eye, maybe. I don't know. Remembering your childhood. And you find that there really is only one inn in town. It's called the Old Log. It's a it's actually pretty big. It's much bigger than the taverns you've seen in small towns and stuff like that. Like, it's not as big as, say, the big taverns back in the Dwarven Kingdom, or the Dwarven Enclave. It's not really a kingdom. But yeah, so there is one tavern. It's called the Old Log. Do you wish to enter?
Yeah. So Doomor just takes a good look around at it. He's always looking around to see the entrances and exits of different places.
He's always got an eye on that.
He's a bit paranoid. He's a bit paranoid because he wants to know how to get out of a situation.
I mean, for a tavern from the outside, it's got one door in and there's actually
level?
It's basically one level, and then there's like a second... No, it's 2 levels, but the second level is sort of set back a bit. The first level, it almost looks like it's more of a flat roof structure. Also, I should mention in front of it, there's a little bit of a sort of... We would call it a patio, but that's generous. It's just like, people eat here, so we need space, so we put some tables and chairs out front. And the stuff is of moderate making. Like, the whole town gives off a very kind of rustic, sort of, not old but functional vibe. Like, there's very little ornamentation in street signs or in people's clothing or anything like that. Like, this is a working town. And also, the one thing that is persistent is a vague smell of fish. The whole town. Like, it is a fishing town. There's fish drying on the harbor. There's people coming in and back with catches and stuff like that. There's probably some heavy salting operations for drying and salting the fish and then trading it out to points unknown, so to other parts of the kingdom. So yeah, it's a functional tavern. There's one way in. It is remarkable that there is a sort of window that actually has glass, because glass is sort of... It's not uncommon, like in a bigger city, but most windows are just like open or closed. But this one actually has like a small glass window in the middle of like more common kind of just like open or shut windows that don't really block anything. So
can I see into the glass and see what's
you can. Inside it's pretty dark. Like it's sort of like there's light. It's sort of I think you would, by the time you get into town, it's sort of getting in around, like, a little after midday, sort of, like, I don't want to start using, like, clock times, because clocks don't exist, but, like, sort of, like, early afternoon, you know, there's a bit of sun coming in. It seems dark. It's not too busy inside. Most people, like, there's a few people at a table or something like that, but otherwise it seems pretty empty. Yeah.
Okay, so Doomor walks in, opens the door, walks in, takes a deep breath in, smells the fish, smells the ale, and looks around the place.
Well, fortunately, this place doesn't smell so much of fish, but it does smell of ale and vaguely, like most taverns you found, sweat. You know, so but again, that's just how things smelled back then, like in these times. And one of the things you did, the big feature you do notice, besides the glass, which you, as you sort of get closer to it, you notice is like it's sort of like, it's not stained glass, but it has been sort of a little molded into some, like, a slightly vague pattern or something, like little ripples and waves and stuff, and then have been sort of like a, you know how stained glass has, like, separations between the chunks of colored glass? It has that, except it's all uniform clear.
Okay.
And the other big feature, actually, is that running from one end to the other end of the bar, of the tavern, is a giant, what you can tell was once a mast of a ship. And that's probably why the place is called the Old Log. Like, there's just this long mast that acts as the bar, as the, you know, countertop and stuff like that. It's been sort of leveled on the top. And as you enter, so there's basically the only people in the tavern right now is a group of just, like, what look like sailors in one corner discussing, like, talking over a drink. Just, they basically, they give you a glance, actually. In fact, most people... One of the things is you are walking around with a great sword and a hammer and a scimitar on your back. I can't remember which one you said you had access. You're dressed in warhammer, yeah. So you've got your warhammer at your hip, a great sword on your back, you know, scimitar strapped to the side of your pack. You're dressed in studded leather armor. Like, you do come across as, like, a fairly... Oh, this guy's... I don't want to say dangerous exactly, but people aren't used to seeing that kind of, like, armaments. That's just... Especially out here in the countryside of the kingdom. So they kind of, like, stop and look at you for a second, and then they just kind of mumble amongst themselves and give a few half glances and go back to the thing. And the only other person in the tavern is the innkeeper, and he's sort of looks at us like, "Oh, you must be new. What do you have? Do you need a drink? Do you need a place to stay? What are you looking for?"
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
So Doomor tries to take as much of a load off. I guess he takes his weapons down and kind of puts them...
Oh, okay. Careful with those weapons, sir. Just don't be touching anything here. I'm an old man. I'm like in my... my kids are all gone. Just please don't start any trouble. We don't need trouble here.
No, sir. I'm looking for a place to put me up a night. And if you know of any work, I can stay more than a night, and I'm willing to.
You know what? It's funny you mentioned that. I think I know someone who you might be able to help. This is fortuitous. It's the God's blessings, of course. Yes. First of all, is your coin good? It's 5 silver a night here. 5 silver for you because you seem kind of large and tough, and I don't want to overcharge you. There's a room upstairs.
I can handle that.
All right. I'll send word to the priest that you've arrived. He's the one he was in here a few nights ago asking if any mercenaries had come through town or if there were any in town because he needs help with something. Well, sorry, when I say a few nights ago, it was last night. Sorry, I got the time a little mixed up in my head. Let me send word to him. In the meantime, would you care for a meal? It's covered by your 5 silver. Which you're going to pay me now, right? Silver in advance, I hope, yes.
Yeah. Doomor,
right, of course.
Doomor reaches into like I guess one of those like purse bags or whatever.
Yeah, coin purses. Yeah.
Pulls out that 5 silver and slams it on the table.
How much gold do you have in there? By the way?
I have 64 gold right now.
Oh wow. Okay, you are loaded compared to most people in this town. So he'd be like, "Oh, maybe I should have charged you 10 silver."
Well, I didn't show him, right? I didn't like pull out.
Well, but you've got a heavy bag and it's jiggling. Like, I mean, I don't know how subtle you are being about this.
So that's minus 5 silver, right?
Yeah, 5 silver, which is half a gold. So he's like, no, good. Yeah. All right. The room's upstairs. If you head up the stairs on the left, you'll see a room. It's the first door. You can store your stuff in there. We lock it at night, and I'll give you the key to it. I also have a copy of the key. I need it in case you fuck off and die or something. But yes, of course. And let me get you a meal. It's covered by the fee, the red. Sorry, I'm an old man. My mind slips from time to time. And I'm gonna send my boy off to get the priest. And then he shouts, "It's like, boy, get out here!" And then, like, out comes this like kid who's like maybe 10 or 12 or something like that. He's like, "What? Yes, Dad." He's like, "Yeah, go get that priest. Is he still in town? Oh, he probably went back to the monastery. I think he left this morning. Oh, just go get him." All right, well, if he's at the monastery, he's going to be probably not showing up until later tonight. It's a little out of town. So enjoy your stay and thing. You have free access to upstairs and here. Any more drinks or meals will cost you, but they're only a couple coppers each, so we charge lightly here. Yes. What brings you to town, by the way? Like, we don't often get mercenaries in town, so there's not a lot of call for them around here.
During that moment, that exchange between the father and son, that kind of brought back memories of him being a helper for his father at the blacksmith. So it kind of like brings kind of like a PTSD kind of thing back to Doomor. So he's like kind of like clutching his hands and just thinking about like revenge and why he's really there.
Are you all right? You seem a little out of it. Hello? Please don't cause problems. I can't.
I'm okay. I'm just okay. A little tired. Maybe some ale will help soothe
Ale is a copper each.
The nerves.
In fact, your first included. Okay, we'll give you the ale with the meal, I guess. Fucking comes to town.
Damn. Cheap barkeep.
Cheap barkeep, cheap mercenary. Look at you. Your sword is worth more than I make in a year. But
I'm here. I'm here for adventure.
You're here for adventure. Well, I mean, not much calls from here in these parts. Alder's Bay. Sorry, in case I don't know if anyone told you the name of the town.
No, please tell me about this area.
Alder's Bay is an old town. We've always been here. We've always been fisher folk. So it's not a lot of. There really isn't that much that goes on around here. Things from time to time, like there was the temple that they found recently. But if you're looking for mercenary work, I suspect you want to head south towards the capital. That tends to be where like more people like you are employed. Again, stay as long as you like. We enjoy your company so long as your silver's still good. There might be work for you around here, but other than this thing the priest was talking about, it was actually something to do with that temple. He wasn't very clear. He was rambling. Unless you like scaling fish or going fishing itself, I don't know if there'll be much work for you here. But who knows? Enjoy your meal. If you need anything else, do you have any other questions or anything you wish to know, or shall I leave you in peace, sir?
Do you have any more details about this temple?
Yes! So this region, the old elves, when they used to control all of Tifia, they would build temples everywhere. They're always finding temples. The elves loved themselves to build a temple. They would build a temple for, let's say a battle happened. They would celebrate by building a temple or a structure shrine. They were very religious people, even though obviously their religion is a bunch of nonsense. They're like spirits and things, and it's not the faith, which I, of course, and everyone, and I assume you, must believe in. So this temple was, if you head south along the bay near the spit, like where the southern, what we call the southern tooth. There's a northern tooth and the southern tooth of he's sort of like starting to gesture like I am now. He's like, well, if the bay's like this, in the south is, I guess it's more like this. This is the southern tooth, this is the northern tooth is here where the ships come in out of the harbor. And there was a little bit of a rumbling about a month ago. And then some people later, we don't know if it happened, we suspect it was because of rumbling, found that some kind of temple had been buried there, and they notified the locals and stuff like that. And it's an Elven temple, you can tell because of how they're carved. There's another one further inland from here that everybody's seen as a kid. Yeah, so there was this temple, and it's been newly discovered. There seems to be no real problems with it. We sent some guards there, because, temples often will have, like... You don't know what'll be down in there. We actually, we might have even had needed someone like you if it was, like, a severe danger. But as far as we could tell, the temple seemed relatively normal. This was, like, a month ago, 10 days ago, a scholar came by to check it out, but not really much... I don't know much about that stuff. It's a temple, it's a ruin... I spend my time brewing beer and cutting up like pigs and grain. I'm not a historian like those priests are. Oh, the priest he'll talk your ear off about that sort of thing, I'm sure.
Okay. I look forward to meeting this priest and seeing.
Yeah, like I said, he should show up. Hopefully he'll show up by dinner time, like at sundown, and he said he needed a mercenary to help him go check out something at the temple. He wasn't very clear. He was tired when he arrived, and then he left pretty much shortly afterwards. So, but yes, so hopefully my boy will be back by sundown. Shouldn't take that long, I don't think. The monastery is just like a short walk out of town, sort of thing. It's like a humble structure to the south and north of us. Do you have any other questions about the area, or should I leave you in peace? What do you wish?
I think that's good. I'm gonna. Is the meal ready right now? Or
yeah,
no?
Yeah, the meal's
I'm gonna have my meal, and then maybe I'll, if the priest arrives, I might be in my quarters, sure, resting a bit.
Hey, I'll send the boy up to knock on your door when the priest arrives.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah. So you have your meal. It's basically just nothing fancy. Some potatoes and maybe half a carrot kind of thing with a bit of a sort of stew that's not amazing. Like, definitely not the quality you're used to back in the back, but, like, it's fine. It's a totally, like, for like, depending on how much he charges, it might not be worth what it was paid, but, like, yeah, it's totally whatever. It's fine. The meal is decent, and I guess you just spend the rest of the afternoon relaxing, it sounds like.
Yeah. While Doomor was having the meal, he took a look at that piece of fabric that had that crest on it.
Yes.
And he thought through his mind, once he builds a bit more trust, he didn't want to immediately show or talk to the innkeeper or the barkeeper about this, because he wanted to at least stay a night and check him out. He's also curious if he's able to find some more information through the priest about this image. But once again, he wants to get to know people. He doesn't want to letting anyone know that he's in it for revenge. That's why he doesn't tell his story of his childhood much, because he's worried that he'll come across someone that knows what's going on, but could tip off the party.
He's playing it quiet on this sort of thing. He's definitely not explaining what happened to his past, but he is asking, hey, have you seen this? But, like, yeah. Though he should be aware that over time, if he keeps asking about this, even if he's not trying to think, people might start going like, oh, did you know there was a mercenary asking about this? But, yeah, I mean, the innkeeper just seems like an innkeeper. You're not getting any strange feelings off. Actually, you know what? Give me a perception check. So here's how we do that. Okay, now go to roll 20. Sorry, I have too many tabs open. Go to roll 20, and then click. You see on the side, there's the dice symbol. Open that, and then just click on D20 once. And now, looking at before you do
D20, the 20, yeah.
Yeah, before you do, look at your character sheet. What is your perception?
Let's see. It's on the side. Perception.
It's on that list of skills next to
+2.
+2. Okay, great. Roll your roll die and see what happens. Roll the d20 and then add 2 to it, and that'll be the result.
I rolled an 8, so 10.
Oh, it didn't show up in my feed.
Oh, I forgot to share the page.
Oh, sorry. Are you rolling on D&D Beyond or on Roll20?
Oh, I was rolling on D&D Beyond.
Oh, sorry. If you can, do your rolls on Roll20, because I can't see that. But what's going to happen is we're going to create a feed of the dice rolls and stuff like that in this thing as not really a record, but just so people can see what's happening.
Should I share my page just so you can also see what I'm doing? Because where is the roll?
If you go to Roll20, look on the left, you see how there's a bunch of sort of symbols, like a Photoshop sort of thing? One of them is a die, one of them is the 20-sided die.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, so that brings out a window, and then you just need to click on D20 once. 14 plus 2, 16. Okay, so the bartender is being very nice to you and stuff like that, but there's something about the way he talks about the priest and the temple. He's a little unsettled by the situation. Like, he doesn't, like, this is without asking him, what you would guess is that this is a relatively this isn't, you know what, I'm gonna be mean to the people that I created in my world, and call it a backwater. This is not the capital, which is a city called Ilhane, which is it's not actually that far to the south, but it's further south. This is like a sort of more remote area, so when there's things like a temple suddenly is found because there was a rumbling, like there was some kind of minor, it wouldn't go so far as to call it an earthquake, but call it like a tremor. Because of that, you know, he seems a little unsettled. He's trying to put on the sort of brave face of like, oh, you know, we're just honest folk here, but like you could tell he's not. You don't think he's out and out hiding anything, but he is much more concerned about things than it's a disruption to the normal routine, is what I would say, sort of thing. So, use that information as you will. You don't think he's hiding anything. He hasn't. You don't gain, like with the 16, you don't think he's lied to you or anything like that. But he definitely is a lot more like, what the fuck is going on? Why a temple? You know, yeah, there's a bunch of them, but there's a temple that close that we didn't even know about. Like,
there's more going on with this situation that he doesn't want to alarm me about, or something. Is that what I'm feeling? Sort
of. It's more. He thinks there's probably more going on with the situation. Okay. He's more. All you've discovered really. The 16 is a good roll, by the way. You beat what I would have charged easily. It's just basically he's kind of. You could tell he's more nervous about things than he likes. Like, he doesn't like the temple. He doesn't, and you know, the scholar came by a month ago to check it out. Like, it's sort of been like, oh, what's going on? Like, and also actually a part of the perception. I'll give this to him. He's also nervous about you. Like, you are, again are a. Did we ever decide your height? I don't think we did, but I suspect
I think I'm like 6 foot.
Yeah, so if you're 6 foot, which is tall for today, dressed in armor with a great sword on your back, a warhammer on your hip, scimitar, Shashmir, scimitar. I'm gonna savage that word so much. We should probably stick to scimitar. Scimitar on the side, like you are definitely like he's trying to be like just jovial and congenial with you, but he is definitely a little bit like you're getting a vibe. He's like, God, please don't start any shit in my tavern. Like you've got to understand. Like most of these people just see fisher folk and farmers and traders all day. Like a giant mercenary coming into town. In fact, something you might bring up in the conversation is like, so there's just one of you, right? You're not like traveling with a bunch that are gonna show up later or anything. Are any of your friends coming by? Like, you know, while you're eating, he might ask that. I mean, you know, he's definitely like nervous about the whole situation, sort of thing. So, but that's all it was. Like, it wasn't. You don't think he's lying though. You as far as you can tell, he's not being deceptive about anything. So.
Okay. You said it's 1 copper, right? This per night.
Oh, well, he charged you 5 silver, which is actually quite a lot.
5 silver? Okay. Yeah, like, I'm just updating my my money.
I would say that probably he's like, as you finish your meal and he takes place, like, you know, you seem like a good lad, and you're going to help out the priest, and the priests are always good to us. So, you know what, that 5 silver, that'll get you, you know what, if you need to be here another couple nights, I won't charge you anything more. I feel like 5 silver is, we have to charge high because people rarely stay more than a day. So the 5 silver gets you an extra couple nights. Meals will still cost a copper, though.
Okay. But the first one was free, right?
Yeah, the first one was free. Yes.
It's always the first one free.
First one's free, but after that, we're going to charge you. Now, basically, meals will cost you a copper, but you're pretty much paid up for a couple days. We can discuss if I feel I need to ask for more. Again, 5 silver. You seem like a likable sort, but I overcharged you a little bit. Well, not overcharge you, but like, I have to make a profit. It's a cut. I don't even know what I'm talking about. So enjoy your meal, enjoy your stay. I'll let you know when he arrives. I'm being a little too honest. Like, sir, he's definitely flustered around you. He's definitely like, if you were to threaten this guy, he would probably do whatever the fuck you said. So, your meal is done. You're still waiting for the priest. Do you want to check out the town? Do you wish to go to rest? You have been on your legs all day, and you did it since the morning. So
yeah, I want to rest before I meet the priest. Yeah. Just because I am all weary and tired, and I want to have a clear mind when I listen to what this guy's offering.
All right,
so take my weapons, pick them up, and
and the innkeeper as you goes would you like a basin of hot water to warm up with? We can get you that. I have a pot on thing.
Yeah, I want to wash.
Sure. So one of his other sons knocks on your door a few minutes after you get in, hands you a bucket of water with a cloth that's clean-ish. This isn't the city. You're not gonna get great, but it's there's no soap or anything. It's just hot water to wash yourself. Okay, so unless there's something else you wish to do during this time, you pretty much, I guess, just rest and relax for...
Yeah, I rest. I change my bandages on my arms and legs and just check everything and just
maybe sharpen your sword, sort of that sort of general maintenance, but taking it easy as a heavily armed dude. Okay, so as the sun is starting to set a bit, it's not twilight, it's later in the afternoon, the sun is getting lower. There's a knock at your door. Pop, pop, pop.
I grab my weapon.
Okay. All right.
But I was semi-dressed, but I grab my weapon, but I just put it in my back. So I just am armed, but I'm not holding it in my hand.
Are you wearing your armor?
I am wearing my armor.
I'm going to assume, by the way, this is something I like to sort of know in advance, is your default is you wear the armor unless, you'll say if you're just in street clothes.
Yeah.
Pretty much. There might be situations where I'll say, okay, in this situation, in further adventures, where it's okay, if you wear armor, here's something. But generally in something like this, plus also you are probably the toughest person in town right now, maybe. There might be a guard or something, or some of the militias a little as tough, but you're still pretty much the big threat in town, so wearing the armor is only going to increase that. So you open the door, and it's the kid. The kid's like, look.
Mm-hmm. And then
sir,
I have that disposition because I'm used to talking to dwarfs and stuff like that. I say hello to him, and I smile to kind of disarm that sense of threat that I give off.
Give me a performance check. Let's see if you can actively disarm the...
So I'm performance +1. Are these usually always D20s when I do the
It's always D20s. Yeah, basically every unless I say otherwise, every check you're going to roll a D20, and you're always trying to match or exceed a number that I'm aware of. Sometimes I'll tell you stuff when it's just the AC of an arm of something you're fighting, that you'll know. But most of the time when I ask for this, sort of the result will determine whether you pass or fail and how well, to certain degrees.
Okay, I'll roll the D20. It is a 10 plus 1. So
11.
11.
He's like, okay, cool. You seem cool. I mean, they don't say cool. Sorry. Yes. The priest is here, and he leaves.
Okay.
He's downstairs in the main room. Just, yeah.
Thank you.
He's
thank you,
gone
son.
Before you can say thank you.
Okay.
He's definitely you are a stranger, and you are a giant, person. You're dressed heavily. Again, I've said it before, and I'll probably say it 10 more times in the next hour. You are an intimidating looking person to a town like this. They are not used to seeing people of your size and strength and carrying stuff. So anyway, so the boy says the priest is in the main room downstairs, the common room.
Okay.
Yeah. And he goes, and
so
he doesn't even wait for a tip or anything like that. He
runs away.
Yep. Yeah, he's okay.
I close the door. I make sure that I have all my important stuff, my gold and just stuff that's near to me. But then I go downstairs, to meet up with the priest.
Sorry, I don't want to tell your character what to do, but I assume you lock the door.
Yes, I lock the door.
Okay. All right, so you head down into the common room, and the innkeeper is right by the bottom of the stairs, just cleaning up a table or something. He's over there in the corner. And in the corner near the glass window, you see an old man. Now he's about somewhere in his 60th years or 70. Not 70 would be a little too old, but he's old, but he's not weak looking. He's sort of got a gray beard and longish hair and stuff like that. He's dressed as a priest, which is in the faith is sort of pretty much similar to how you would picture Catholicism, dressed like, simple black robe and stuff like that. Well, actually, these robes are gray. They're not black. He just looks like a priest, like a monk, sort of
Kind of like Friar Tuck kind of deal?
Yeah, I mean, maybe not with the tonsure, because I hate that haircut, but otherwise, yeah. And he's sitting in the corner, and he notices you, like, you stand out. And he's like, and he gestures for you to come over, and...
I walk towards him, and I...
As you approach, he puts out an arm to clasp, using the classic medieval, like... I'm not sure if I'm doing, like... That's how you handshake in this world. And he's like, it's like Brother Arhan of... Arhan, sorry. And you must be the mercenary the boy told me about.
Yes, sir. I'm Doomor XVII. How 17th? Can I...
Oh.
Yes. How can I assist you? I come from a line of smiths.
Ah, yes, of course. I can tell from your strength that you are formidable, I mean, I used to do some fighting back in my day. That's a story for long ago. That's from a long ago time. No. Anyways, have a seat, and I guess we'll just get down to business, it sounds like. I am in need of a mercenary. Let me tell you what has happened. So I'm from a monastery a little bit to the north of here, and one of our order, a novitiate, a novice, by the name of Dermen. Side note, I created the character separately. I didn't realize your names would be so similar, like Doomor, Dermen. That's how the world works. Sometimes you run into another guy with your own name. And he wanted... Have you heard about the temple, first of all?
Just bits of it from the innkeeper, that it's a... elvish temple,
yes.
And it was newly discovered, I believe.
Yes, so what happened about a month ago, there was a loud rumbling, and I think an earthquake might be too much to call it, because there was, like, no structures in the town, or our monastery was fine, but there was some rumblings and such like that, and... later, about a few days later, someone discovered that this temple had been revealed. It would have been somewhere in the rock face. It looks like it had been buried or covered or something by stones. And it's an older elven temple. It's not like the elves today in Arun, far to the south. It's from back when the elves ruled all this land. So that makes it even before the Gathan Empire. That would be... Oh, goodness. We're talking, like... closing in on 1700 years old. Like, very old temple. And it's got all the symbols and markings before of their older versions of their current faith. Anyways, it's a ruined old temple. It's actually it does sound interesting to check out. But what happened was one of our novices asked the abbot if he could go take a look at it, just to check it out. He promised he'd be back within 2 days, and it's been 3 days. So we're a little concerned. He's been missing, and I feel bad because, I got the boy interested in history and all the cultures and stuff like that. These are passions of mine. And so I feel he went there because his curiosity was a flame that was sparked by my flint. I don't think that metaphor quite works. But, so what I need is a mercenary to just come help me get the boy back. He's probably fine. He's probably just still somewhere in those temples, because he was always a quiet boy who liked to, since he was dropped off at our monastery, he's always been sort of, he's been in his own head, if you know what I mean, like sort of doing his own thing. He doesn't really fit in with the monks, to be honest, but he's a nice enough kid. So when he wanted to go do it, we were fine. He's just the same age as you. He's like, he might be a little younger by a year or two. So he's a responsible, basically adult. Even me calling him a kid is probably a little rude. So, yes, what I need is a mercenary to watch my back as we go back and drag this kid from his charcoal etchings and scribblings and take him back to the monastery. He may not be the best novice we have, but there are certain forms that need to be followed in the faith, and, he's had his fun. It's time for him to come home, I think it's I'm offering you 5 gold per day. So it shouldn't take us more than 2 days, I would think. So 10 gold to help me with this. It's not much, but it's all we can afford at the temple.
I see. And
the monastery.
The party, you're the only one accompanying.
Yeah, just you and me. I don't see it being much. There being a lot of problem. Like I said, the temple's already been checked out. Is the thing. We had, like, when it first was revealed a month or so ago, sent local guardsmen and militia, because, you know, like, all these old temples and ruins and forts and things are all throughout here, Ustland, Tifia, and all of the continent. They're always the risk of monsters or creatures or, you know, in easier cases, bandits have taken up refuge. So when something like this is discovered, we need to assure its safety, and they did. They went in, they checked. It's just basically apparently a small entrance way and then a large chamber with an altar that's ruined and broken and covered in rubble, and that was it. So not really a concern, to be honest. There was no signs of anything. And then so we sent the novice. Dermen went and checked it out, and he should have been back a day ago or so. So he's probably fine. But for 10 gold, I'd like to have somebody with me in case he's not, and there are other things at play here. The gods are tricky sometimes. The faith tests you, and it is good to be always prepared for a test, I find.
Sounds straightforward, easy enough. When do you plan to head out? Daybreak?
Pretty much, yes. Good call. It's too late to travel at night now, and it won't take us long to get there. If we leave at daybreak, we'll be there by early afternoon, a little after lunchtime, maybe, a little after midday. It's just we just have to walk down the bay and then back up to what they call the southern tooth or the lower tooth. Yeah. Are you interested? Do I take this as you being amenable to this situation?
Yes, I'll help you.
Excellent. First of all, let me get you a meal on this. He calls over to the barkeep and he's like, 2 meals plus 2 ales for me and the fine man. God, you are tall. You are tall. And what? You are armed too. Are you mercenary? Because there really isn't a lot of call for mercenary work up here in the north. That's more of like a Midlands and Southern thing where and I guess to the west, if you needed to. Sometimes there's raids or protecting from the Abernants. Fouls been giving us problems. Sorry, I get distracted at times. But what's your story? Why are you here?
I'm here to adventure, sir. Doomor is starting to feel a little relaxed around this.
You don't give me a perception roll.
Yeah, I kind of want to. Okay.
Yeah.
So another 20, and perception's plus 2 for me. So I'm going to roll this 20. 22? Is that even possible?
Oh, wow. Yeah, you can't. I mean, a 20
it's already
is,
max,
okay.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, how it works in D&D is a 20 is what they call a critical success, and a 1 is a critical failure. A critical success means extreme success. A critical failure means extreme failure. Like, if you fail something... The thing is, like, don't be afraid of failures, because, in combat, it's a little bit more mathematical. It's a little bit like, oh, no, I missed, I need to kill this guy, he's trying to kill me, that thing. But in things like this, it's like, it just means something may happen that may not be to your advantage, but rarely will it mean death. That's more when, you're dealing with damage and stuff. But your natural 20 means, okay, this guy is worried as hell as the pit, which is the hell of the religion. He's worried to the pit, as they would say, about this kid. Because you're not certain why, but, it's genuine concern. It's almost like a fatherly concern. You don't get the impression he's related, who knows? He said the priest, something interesting, the priest mentioned the kid was dropped off a while ago or something like that. But he's definitely super nervous about this situation, and he's more concerned about the temple, and he's kind of hoping that you will be able to... He's not expecting trouble, but the fact that you get the impression that since the kid hasn't been in a day, is a day late in reporting coming back, like a couple hours, he's worried is basically what you guess. He's very worried about this situation. You also get the impression that, just from your perception roll, something else in just reading him is this guy was once a fighter. He absolutely was, or he was some kind of military order, because he's old. He's in his early 60s. You would guess he's 63 or 64 if he had to put a year on it. But he's still very fit. Even though he's wearing a monk's robes and cassock or whatever, he's still... he doesn't have a lot of scholars and monks and religious people that you met you remember as a kid, mostly because it's the human world. They tended to be heavier because they're more of they're not an super active lifestyle. This guy has definitely seen military fight. In fact, you see the hint of a scar underneath his neck on the robe. He's definitely been through things, and he also has this This part is sort of hard to describe. There's a presence to him. Like, he's not more than a monk, but there's something about his... Sorry, I keep using the term monk, but unfortunately I'm using it in the Catholic sense, which just means a priest. I mean priest. Monks in D&D are a specific thing. They're almost like, if you want to think like martial arts monks.
It's like a class of fighting.
Yeah, like it's a distinct thing. I shouldn't use the term monk. I'll try to stop using it, but what I mean is a priest. Like, as a priest, this guy has definitely seen combat. He's definitely super worried about the situation a lot more than he lets on. And there's also something about him that just, like, it doesn't feel bad. It's just like he's hiding something and you're not certain what, but there is something ever so slightly off about him. Okay. Not necessarily in a threatening way. It's just, this guy has secrets and he's trying to portray himself as a simple priest, but your natural 20 on your perception roll tells you this guy ain't no simple priest. There's more to this guy than he's letting on, and there's more behind him than, like, his eyes, than the befuddled sort of, like, rambling priest that he seems to be.
Okay. So Doomor is going to just give him a truncated background of himself in hopes that he can fish some information about this fighting holy man. So Doomor tells him, he says, I'm from a small village. I actually forget what the name of his origin place was called.
Do you mean the
where the smith burnt down, where he was
Linnick? Sorry, I just told you that like once, so I wouldn't expect it. It's a town called Linnick, village called Linnick. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm from Linnick, and I
know Linnick.
I grew up. My father was a smith. Unfortunately, I've been orphaned due to
terribly tragic.
Due to a fire. But my surrogate parents, they were dwarves that took me in, and I grew up working in the mountains, in the forges, in the mines, and that's where I gained my strength. I'm not necessarily a mercenary, but I've protected my dwarven merchants.
You will find a lot of people call you a mercenary just because of how you're dressed. You should know, like, arms and armor means generally mercenary or militia or guard, and since you're obviously not from around here. But actually, that's a remarkable story. The dwarves took in a human child? Like, how old are you now?
I'm 18. They took me in when I was 13.
That was good. That was my next question. Because you said the town of Linnick, right? In the sort of middle north part, or like sort of west of here and maybe a little bit north? Yeah.
That's correct.
That sounds about right to you. That roughly sounds right. You don't have the greatest grasp of geography. It's like, 13 years... 5 years ago. I'd heard there was a lot of bandit raiding around then. Yeah, there was a lot of unpleasantness happening in the area. There was a lot of violence back then. There was a spate of... God, who was that? That was that guy. He's like trailing off. He's sort of like just sort of lost in his own thoughts. But it's a remarkable story. You seem to have done well for the dwarves. You seem pale, which makes sense because you live in a mountain. But what was that like living with the dwarves?
So Doomor takes note of him talking about the bandits and whatnot happening. He wants to learn more about that, but he doesn't want to directly start prying away at it.
Okay. Well, give me a persuasion roll. If you guys are like... We can either roleplay it out, or if you want to just sort of like... We'll approach... You know what? Actually, let's roleplay it out. We are doing this as a roleplaying thing. Like, so what do you ask him? He's obviously kind of like... He's also sort of a little distracted by everything around him. Like, he's kind of like... He's got a lot on his mind. Is something else you gained from his that natural 20. And not just, like, your guess is not just this missing guy, like the missing novice.
I'm trying to remember, initially when we met, he said, did he mention something that he used to be a fighter, or was that just from my perception of, like, how he looks?
He said something along the lines of, if I remember correctly, please don't go back in the edit and check. Something like, I've seen a little fighting of
That's what I thought. Yeah. So I'm gonna say something to the effect. I'm like, that's very interesting of a man of the cloth to see combat, and I see that scar on the side of your neck.
Yes.
I'm sure you have a colorful story to tell.
Well, I haven't always been a priest. You might have been too young to know what was going on, but about a decade ago, there was a bit of a scuffle between the kingdoms of Uslan and Fald. You know what Fald is, the kingdom on the other side of the mountains, the Central Mountains. Which is what they're called. They're just called the Central Mountains. They have different names and stuff like that, local regions, but it's basically just a long spine of mountains down the subcontinent. People in this world are not very creative, which means I'm not very creative. And I got this scar while fighting there. It was... You see, the thing about the faith is, as you get older, you realize it's not just something you should say. It's not just some, rituals you follow, Priests are granted their magic from the gods, so we all know the gods are real, but the gods do care about us individually. And as you get older and as you start approaching your much older years and you've seen so many things, you start to realize that maybe it's time to settle down for a while. And I found the faith gives me strength, and so those fighting days are long behind me. There was fighting between the two kingdoms, and I got a little involved, and it wasn't directly affecting me, but, at the time, yes, those were the days back then.
Can I ask, who's your sword? Who were you fighting for?
I fought for, well, to be honest, a little bit of whoever would pay me, but mostly for Usland. It's the fight between the Faldic and Usland, Faldic and Uslandic. Sorry, it's so hard to remember names. It's like, why don't they understand that a little battle here and a little scrabble here it was over a little plot of land, in this near the southern part of the mountains. Before there's a little gap where the mountains become just a bunch of hills, and then it lives up to the ridge where those halflings live, and the farmlands in the upper high Nuthrin Ridge. And there's always been contention about which river there is the one that is the actual border of the thing, and then occasionally they just have fights over it. The Falden, it's been going on for generations, probably centuries.
So you sound more of a mercenary than I ever was.
I think that's a way to put it, yes. I was a mercenary back then. It's less, calling me a mercenary. I did fight for Fald because, they were a little on the weaker side, in my opinion, so I decided to help them. And
how noble of you.
Well, you've got to maintain balance is the thing. You see, this world is so full of people who want so much power, and people who want they always fight, and the worst part is it's always the people who get punished the most are the little people. The people let's take you for example. The fighting that happened up there in the north during Linnick was basically two local power structures. Some mages were involved outside of the Guild of Mages, and outside of the university especially, and they had a conflict there, and I hate to say it, you're probably the victim of some raid that happened for resources. They were constantly attacking, and again, when two large groups fight, it's always the little people who get affected. So I stepped in on the side that I thought was right. I'd put behind my years of any selfishness that perhaps I'd had as a younger man, and I decided I'm going to join things. So this guy was from a fight there. Someone tried to chop my head off, and quite frankly, they didn't succeed, and I did more than chop their head off, sort of thing. So it's from long past battles. Hardly worth mentioning. There's a lot of stuff. Give me another perception roll.
Okay, so another roll, 20. 13, and what was my perception? Is +2.
So 15? Yeah, he's dissembling a bit. You can tell he doesn't want to give you any specific details. He's not going to... He's definitely... Again, you don't get the impression that he's lying to you, but more he's just being evasive, and it's sort of a topic he doesn't want to talk about. And okay, I'll give you this with a 15. It's not that he's ashamed or anything like that. It's more like he just doesn't want to speak about his role in those sort of things. It's a little like, you definitely get the feeling he's hiding stuff from you, but probably not with a malicious intent. It's sort of hard to say.
Okay.
The 15 gives you he's hiding, he's avoiding talking about stuff, but he's not it's very hard to get a read on this guy. Like, he's sort of, there is still something about him. You know he's definitely not come clean with his history, but that's probably, I'm not gonna say probably all you'll get out of him, but for now, like, he definitely doesn't seem to be like, he's trying to avoid the topping and stuff like that. Like, in fact, he turns to you and says, like, so that's me. Like, I mean, what's it like in the Dwarven Kingdom? Say, you must have been in a few fights there.
So one thing I want to clarify is that information that he gave about the two factions fighting in the town I'm from.
Yeah, in the region.
Is that new to me? Is that new information to me about those two different?
Well, when you were 13, it does actually line up a little bit with what you knew, but it was like you'd heard around the time, very shortly before your town got raided. You'd heard that there was some trouble in the region north. Sort of, Linnick is on a there are several east-west roads that basically go across the kingdom, and Linnick was on the northernmost before you start getting into the rough territory and below the mountains and aback and all the Dwarven realms. But it was pretty much the top edge of the middle of the kingdom. Okay. And you'd heard that even further north in the sort of hills and roughlands, there was something was happening. There were people were seeing smoke fires from campfires, and and there was people who had farmers who lived on the edge of that territory would report sometimes hearing the sounds of fighting in the hills. Like, something was going on, but you weren't certain what. Like, you never had a clear detail. And then Linnick got raided. I guess you would probably piece this together. Linnick got raided early. If there was violence there, what happened in Linnick must have been one of the first towns to be hit. To be fully raided, because you hadn't really heard of raiding. You'd heard of little, like, light fighting and banditry maybe nearby, but it was something was happening, and then very shortly after those rumors started appearing, Linnick got attacked. And then sacked. Like, it basically, like, your house got burned down, but the whole town got burned down, and, like, maybe it's rebuilt, you don't know. So
I have this...
Oh, you've heard... Sorry, actually, let me give you one last key bit of information.
Yep.
You've heard that... So since you moved with the dwarves, the town of Linnick had been slowly rebuilding itself. Apparently stuff had died down a year or two, like, after. But again, you hadn't really heard much about the conflict. You were 14. Your parents were actually pretty, I don't want to say evasive, but they were very, like, they didn't tell you a lot about what was going on in the outside world. Because dwarves don't really care that much. But also because, like, you sometimes felt like you might be being protected. Maybe you had a few arguments with your adoptive parents about this, but they generally would tell you very little. All you know is that Linnick might be recovering. You're not certain. Sorry.
Okay. Continue. Okay. So, like, I want to try to pry more information out of this guy, but it would probably make more sense that either during our journey or after our journey, I can get more out of him, since he is being kind of like coy or evasive.
He's definitely being evasive about stuff. And again, not maliciously evasive. Like, you don't feel like you're not getting bad vibes from the guy, if that's a term, but you are getting, like, this guy's got a lot more going on than this whole priest thing isn't necessarily, well, that 20 perception, like, it's borderline an act. Like, he is a priest. He does talk and have and you suspect if you went to the monastery, they'd be like, oh yeah, Brother Arhan, he's been here for a while. But the priest chapter of his life is only one small recent chapter. You feel like there's a lot more that he's been through beforehand. Okay. But yeah, so you have your meal, and do you have any other questions or anything else you wish to talk about? You just do idle chatter, like, the weather's been, it's early spring. This is the 8th day. Like, you left on the 1st of the 3rd, which is, by the way, that's how I figure I'm going to do dates for now until I get, like, a clear name. Like, 1st day of the 3rd month, so essentially what you would call the 1st of March if we were using our calendar. Okay. So it's still early spring. Like, the land is thawed. The temperature of Ustled is kind of like southern Ontario in the north, and then gets warmer further south. Like, the farming communities in Nuthrin, the Halfling Kingdom to the south, is considered pretty, like, borderline tropical, and then the archipelago of Elven lands to the even south of Nuthrin, that's borderline jungle. Like, so you're in a fairly temperate zone. The rivers freeze over a little bit, especially where we're in a back, like in the north. But you remember as a childhood in Linnick, like, it snowed and it got cold and there was ice on some of the smaller rivers, but it was never like full on, like, everything's frozen over and unbearable. It was cold and think like a sort of modest Canadian winter, like Southern Ontario winter, sort of thing. Okay. Yeah, so he chats about a few things. Like you guys just discussed the weather. Things are thawing now. Farmers will soon be in the fields, like planting crops if they're not already. The bay never freezes over, he says. He's like, oh yeah, I've been here for a while. The bay never freezes over. You get some ice on the shore a little bit, but this bay is actually quite remarkable in that it's one of the deepest bays, we think, like, using the rough drop line measurements, and it's always full of good fishing here and also out on the coast. So it's springtime in the lands, and hopefully things will revive themselves.
Doomor, he's actually anxious to get going to start the adventure because he wants to pick this guy's
All right, well,
brain.
You seem to be like you wish to... how about this? We finished our meal, we've had our ale, I've met you, you've met me. I'm going to rent a room here myself tonight, and then we'll get going at dawn. I'll ask him to wake us up, and we shall head out. Does that work for you?
That works for me. Father?
Excellent.
Do I call him father or brother? Father, right?
Brother.
Brother?
Father is not really a term. I mean, that's Southern High Priest. It's complicated, but brother. Just consider me a brother. A father, like the higher priests, they're... Just call me brother for now.
I'll call you
We're
brother.
all brothers. What?
I'll call you brother. Bro.
No, call me brother. Call me brother. Because we are all brothers under the eyes of the gods. That is what the term comes from. We sisters, brothers, the women of our priesthood, and the priest. The faith accepts all, and we are all equal in the eyes of the gods, for good or ill. Whether it's a good god like Salistan the Father, or if it's Durad wants war to your lands, or Coin wants to rip you off. You know what? He gives you a piece of parchment that I will get to you in about a couple days when I write up enough about, so you can have a brief understanding of the religious faith. Sorry, this is one thing I've had in my head, and I really should have sent to you as a document. Because everybody, like, he can explain some things to you all the way if you want. But yeah, so basically, with your meal done, it sounds like you guys are just like, let's get going first thing in the morning. It's now, the sun has set over your conversation, so it's now evening. You return to your room, I assume?
Yeah, return to my room.
Let me just check one thing. Let me just hide a die roll from you. Okay. Assuming there's nothing you wanted to do otherwise than sleep, you get woken up the next morning with a knock at the door.
Okay.
Bum, 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 bum.
I get to the door, open the door.
It's
just a wake up call.
Yeah, it's the innkeeper just going, bum, 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 wake up. You wish to be woken up. It's dawn. And then you can hear him like a moment later knocking on the priest's door, which is next door. There's only like 3 rooms here, so like the third one's unoccupied. He's like, bum, 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 wake up, it's dawn. And then like he just walks off. He's not waiting for you to answer. He's like, I've done my bit. I've got a tavern to run. So you and the priest, Brother Arhan, meet in the common room. He's like, are you ready to head out?
I look over my gear and
my
everything and make sure that everything is ready to run.
I've done a bit of fighting. You have to make sure everything is quite well. I say you do take good care of your... Is that dwarven? Did dwarves make a greatsword?
Yes, these weapons are forged by...
I thought so. It has a distinct dwarven, like... It's yeah, this...
Do you know much about the dwarves?
I've met a few dwarves in my day. If nothing else, you are lucky to have lived in a place where you can guarantee that your roof will not fall in. Unlike structures like this, and then the game's like, "Hey, shut up! Get out of here!" But yeah, so basically, he's ready to go if you are.
I'm ready to go. I'm ready to rock.
So you head out of the town. He explains there's no point in renting horses. It's going to take us like. We'll be there a little after midday, and the you can see that horses might have even been a bit of a hindrance, because what you're doing is you're following the trying to do this from your perspective. The town's about here, and you're doing this and such. You're heading south for a bit, and then back up the little peninsula that they call the lower jaw or the southern jaw. The trip is pretty, and the road and the path is a long sort of. It's walked as if locals go to that peninsula fairly frequently, but it isn't. There are some what's the term I'm looking for here? Like, it's not super well trodden. It's not like a proper path that has a lot of cart traffic or horse traffic. Definitely no horse traffic. In fact, it's uneven. There's parts where you have to kind of like the path stops. You got to clamber over some like rocks and things like that. It sticks pretty close to the shore. Once you leave the town, the shore is mostly sort of gravelly, rocky beach. Like, it doesn't really seem to have much in the way of sandy beach. It's like most of the rocks are actually quite large. You don't have a lot of experience in your life with beaches, to be honest. But even you, like, expect, these are large rocks. You know, like, it's not a nice beach, basically. You wouldn't want to go there and, like, it's not what you're picturing if you're, like, picturing, like, a North American beach with just a long sandbar or something like that. It's rocky. You can see the bay, it's dark blue. As the day goes on, you start seeing fishing boats, like small boats, like 1 or 2 man boats. There's like one large boat that heads out, that was docked there, and then starts sailing south. Yeah, so as you make your way along, do you have anything you wish to talk about this guy? You have probably like a full morning to chat with him. He seems to be just kind of amenable with talking or silence.
I want to ask him about the feud between those two factions. That,
what happened was, okay, you should know, you're from the region, you know, and it did affect you horribly. Again, I'm sorry to hear about your parents. It's a loss. It's a tragic loss when a parent loses a child. And there were 2 factions. One was a mage whose name I can't recall, and the other was essentially, I would call them mercenaries, but they were sort of allied with the Duke of the region. You see, you probably don't know this because this isn't really concerning for you, especially if you've lived with the dwarves the last 5 years. But if you imagine the kingdom of Usland, there are 2 halves to it. There's the north half and the southern half. The north half is the Duchy of Denskar, which is what Linnick and technically Abac is in, but obviously they have their own carve-out from the kingdom. And the Duchy of Denskar had the Duke is he's a military man. You'd probably get along well with him considering how he dressed. And he had... You see, the thing is, the details about what happened there was violence, magic was involved, and not magic from the university, but magic, independent magic, which is very uncommon. And it's very strange, to be honest. There was a lot of raiding. Linnick wasn't the only town hit. It was one of the first, if I remember correctly, but it wasn't the only town. About 4 or 5 other villages in the area were hit. And then there were raiding of small homesteads and farmsteads and things like that. Light banditry, which was somehow... But most of the battling happened up in the hills. And what had happened was, if I understand correctly, some mage had been doing something up there. And it caught the eye of the Duke of Denskar. And so the Duke had sent out one of his larger forces and militias up there, and what they thought would be hopefully a relatively quick event to settle the region down actually lasted a fair while. It was about a year of skirmishing and constant magic battles. Eventually the Duke actually had to go to the university and get mages proper to come and deal with the situation. And then there was a problem there because sorry, do you know about the university? That's a human thing and it's a magic thing, and you don't strike me as a magic user.
I'd like to learn.
All right. Here's how magic happens and is organized in most of the continent, to be honest. The university sometimes calls itself the academy. They're the group of mages who control magic on the continent. And they usually have towers within certain cities. There's a tower of I believe it's the Tower of Stone in Ilhane, and then there's actually 2 towers in Port Fald on the east coast, the west coast of this thing. That's the capital of Fald, by the way, in case you couldn't guess from the name. There's the University of Glass and the University of Crystal there. That's what they call their towers, by the way. Like, it's the university is an organization, and they have outposts in larger settlements that they call towers, which are also usually given a name based upon some appropriate substance. Like, there's a lot of like quarries and mining in Usland, so it became the University of Stone. Crystal and Glass are 2 universities in Fald for less obvious reasons. There's in the northern lands, like up in Abernay, there's several towers. There's towers in Garrion and Sungarion. Ranasane has towers. The Splintered Kingdoms has towers. I don't think they say towers in Andon, but Andon always does its own thing. And so if you're a magic user of any kind in the continent, the university claims not to control you, but that you need to become a member and an associate with them. It's sort of like, between you and me, do you know about, like, criminal organizations? it's kind of like that. You know, but protection rackets where they say, you can do your thing, but you have to pay us money. The university works kind of in that way. Obviously, they dress it up a bunch because they're mages. But they are basically going, if you want to practice magic, you need to do it under our auspices. And so those who don't are hunted down quickly and either brought in or, let's be real, eliminated. The university is very aggressive. And the university, quite frankly, being a bunch of mages, is incredibly powerful. There are not a lot of mages in the world, so if you can get a mage to join your fight, that's a big change. That's a big balance in your favor. Now, what had happened up there is some mage had gone rogue. It's unclear whether he was a university mage or was just a mage by himself. And he'd been getting, like, help from... He was working on something up there. Again, I was not involved. At that point, I had already joined the monastery. But I had friends, and people came and visited me and would tell me things. And there was something he was working on. There's some kind of project of a magical nature. I don't really know much more than that. And it was a problem. But he somehow managed to actually get fairly far in it without being, like, found out. That's why he chose north of Linnick, which is, as you know, like, you do remember as a kid, basically, Linnick is kind of the top part of civilization in the kingdom. After that, it's mostly, like, there were forests and hills and leading up into the mountains, and not very, first of all, not civilized in the sense of, like, basically civilization is we carve it down for resources or for farming, and there was none of that in the region. So the Duke basically sent people to fight it. He couldn't handle it. He then turned to the university. University came in. They shut down whatever was happening, and I believe they killed the guy, as far as I'm aware, whoever this mage was. But then the university was also angry that basically their deal with every kingdom is, if you have a problem mage, you let us know right away. And the Duke of Denskar had taken too long to get to inform them, so there was a bit of animosity there. So the whole situation was very messy. But long story short, too late. But hey, it's a beautiful afternoon. We've got time. We're still a little ways out. Your town was raided early in the problems there. Your town was attacked so that the resources could be used by the mage who had been causing problems. The Duke would not raid his own towns, we hope, though later in that conflict, the lines got a little blurred between the Duke asking for resources from local lords and, you know, that kind of thing, nobles, right? So, again, I think I said this long story short too many times, but I'll say it one last time. Long story short, some mage was going rogue up there. He attacked your village to get resources, and then that was it. Like I said, several other towns were attacked. I hate to say it, it wasn't, as far as we know, a concentrated attack to specifically take out Linnick. It was more Linnick is a small town that has the resources, and they wanted it. So they would have raided your food. They probably took stuff, as much any armaments they could from your father's smithy, but they burned everything down, as far as we were. And but again, it was a little weird because he had a lot more strength than you would expect an isolated mage to have. Like, he had mercenaries and people working for him who aren't just mercenaries such as yourself. Like, he had, groups and organizations. Like, it was kind of strange. He had a lot more power than one expected someone like him to have. But it settled down, and since then, I do believe that Linnick has been rebuilt a little bit. I mean, it's hard to rebuild a village that's been burnt down, but it's been cleared. The area is being settled again. Linnick still exists. It's probably much smaller than you remember it being. Not that I'm guessing it was pretty big in the first place. It's probably just a few homesteads and, like, maybe thing. But I doubt they have a smithy yet. That would, well, maybe, because, you know, they do need to. Farming does take a lot of work.
So Doomor, trying to hold back his anger,
oh my god,
confirms with the brother that the bandit activity, so the bandit activity that was happening in Linnick, was sanctioned by this mage, this
rogue mage was
this rogue mage. Yeah. But it could have been one of the factions or some people that the mage had power over, and not.
Yeah.
directly
the mage
him?
himself, like he would have brought a bunch of people to work under him, like hirelings and like of varying skills and classes and stuff like that. And he just I guess the priest would say something like, he wanted protection, but it's also expensive to keep protection, so he needed resources. So unfortunately, there's only so much food in a forest, if you know what I mean. So farmsteads were heavily raided. And a raid on your town was one of the first, and if my understanding correctly, it didn't happen. It happened near the start, but not right at the start. He was probably like, okay, I've gotten to a point where I need the resources of a small village. I need to take, a smithy is a good. They probably, I know they burnt your place down, but I don't know if they took the forge or something. It's very, raids are unfortunately, when you have a large force, you need to keep it fed, and you need to keep it supplied, and after a while, you can't just get that from the hills. They aren't good hill farmers like the dwarves, like your people, your people. You know what I say when I say your people. So, yes.
What happened to this mage?
He was captured eventually, and then
By the Duke?
By the Duke with the help of the university, and it was agreed that he was taken in by the university, and the university is not kind to mages who operate independently. Part of the reason that they are so effective at getting new mages and non-affiliated mages to join is because they are very harsh in their treatment of mages who don't join. And so my guess is he's dead. I can't confirm this. It's not again, this all happened over the span of a year, and it was very contained, which was odd. You see, the one weird thing, there is one thing that's puzzled me about this. The Duke of Denskar is the younger brother of the king, such as the Duchy of Ban, which is to the south, Bann, is the other younger brother of the king. The king is the oldest of three brothers, and his two younger brothers, one became the Duke, one became the thing, when there was some political fighting decades ago. That doesn't matter. That establishes. And the Duke never asked his brother for help. It's always made it a little strange that this Duke could have just sent word to his king and said, send me a bunch of troops, we've got a rogue mage up here. And the thing about rogue mages is whenever you find one, yes, the university is blah, 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 but even without it, most people are going to want to take it out, because a rogue mage is a very troublesome factor that can cause a lot of problems. But he never reached out to his brother. In fact, he reached out to the university before he never actually officially asked for help from his brother. That's the odd thing. That's the weird thing. There was something there, and I don't know why. It would have made sense for him to go to the king, ask for men, ask for resources, supplies, and ask for the university's help earlier, but he never did. It was almost like he wanted to contain the problem himself before asking for help, and even when he wanted help, he didn't go to who he would naturally ask as king. He went to the university. Now, he said it was because the university was a mage, and this mage was powerful, so he wasn't going to bother the king, blah, blah, blah. But that's always struck me as a little odd. That's the one thing about the situation that always makes me go, why was he not asking the king?
So Doomor takes note of this stuff. It's very important for him he now wants to seek out that Duke and seek out that university to find out the true fate of this mage.
The university, the Duke would be in Denskar, which is the capital of the duchy, which is actually further where we are. If you were to march straight west, you might come to Denskar. It's a little north or south. It's the third biggest city in the kingdom after Ilhane and whatever the band. I think it's also called. What's it called? Bedozan? I can't. My mind fades for the southern duchy, but yes, if you want to. But the university is everywhere. So basically, if you go to the capital, which isn't that far from here, you'll be able to find the university. There's a tower there. Trust me, you'll know it when you see it. It is a giant tower. The university is. These mages are nothing else if not ostentatious. They love themselves a tall tower to lord over the entire thing. It's even taller than the castle of the king, to be honest. They're mages. They're powerful. They can do whatever they like, but if you want to talk to them, they go there. But I will say, when you do, be cautious about how you approach and who you talk to. They can be insular. Like, they're very there are things they don't mind talking about. They like giving help. They want to appear as open, but be cautious is all I'm saying. And they always have their own purposes. So listen to what they say, but I'm going to use a quote from a king years ago who was an idiot, but he said this one thing that makes sense: trust but verify.
I appreciate that, brother. I may ask for your ears. I might have a question for you once we get through this upcoming challenge. But
I'm happy to talk about things. There's certain things I don't want to talk about. Everybody has their secrets, but I've always found the world fascinating. You see, the thing about history is it's always happening, and there's always something going on and such. So, yes, once we rescue Brother Dermen, or, well, I guess novice Dermen, he didn't quite become a brother yet, we should be, I'd be happy to answer any more questions you might have. So, yeah. And I guess, is there anything else you wish to talk about as you head towards the...
I think that's good for now, because Doomor's still careful. He doesn't want to push it, but he got he got some information for, like, future of where he needs... It's what he wanted to get out of this town.
Yeah. You didn't show the brother the symbol, though, right?
Not yet. I think I'm still hesitant, because I can see that he is aligned with some side, and I'm hesitant to... trigger something if I show him.
You're playing it right. You don't know what that would trigger from the guy. He might be like, I don't know what that is. Good call. Always, like I said, trust but verify. By the way, that's a reference to Ronald Reagan, terrible king. But he did say trust but verify, and that's the one thing that I'm like, yeah, I get that quote. All right. So as you continue on, there isn't. Let me just check one more thing.
Okay.
Truth be told, you're probably not going to encounter the.
Well, I can see your roll.
4. No. You know what? I'm gonna make this the easy. Well, not the easy adventure, but in the sense of like nothing happens. The rest of the trip is fine. I was looking at my layer, I'm like, oh no, that might be a little too much to do. So the journey along the coast is very. It's like I said, it's slow traveling, but you head south down the. Sorry, let me just full screen. You head south down the coast, and
one question: do I observe any mobility issues because this guy's an elderly kind of dude? Is he still able to?
He seems really spry.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, actually, like
perfect.
He's not super dexterous. He is a little clumsy, but he's definitely like, for someone in this society as on in years as he is. He might be getting on in years, and he definitely needs... I think once or twice you have to help him over something. Like, he's super not dexterous or strong, but he doesn't strike you as enfeebled by any stretch. Or then, like, if he's aging very well, sort of thing. And again, like, as you notice, like, there's wind blowing and stuff like that, you might see the robes blow against him. He does not strike you as fat or out of shape. Like, even if he's been at that monastery, like he said, for a decade you caught or so, he's definitely been, like, making sure to keep fit. He's not like a lot of priests you've met who are used... As a kid, the priest of Linnick, like, Linnick had a little small chapel, and he was a larger out-of-shape gentleman, as far as you can remember.
Okay.
Yep. So, you continue on, and eventually... You come to, he's like, yes, it's just down here, just down this little rock path. So, as you've been going back up the, coming down, then going north up the side of the Lower Jaw Peninsula, the ground has been rising. Like, it actually kind of rises pretty sharply here. Like, you start climbing up, and there's a bit of like scrubland on the side, and the path sort of keeps with it. But like, there's almost like it starts at the center of the land as well. Like, to your right, Sorry, let me just make sure I'm doing the math this way. Sorry, to your left, as you're to the west, in towards the bay, the ground, like what little small rock beaches turned into like a small bluff or cliff, and also the middle of the thing has like a sharp, very thin, almost like to call it a mountain would be generous, but like a ridge kind of thing, like sort of thing. So it's very like. And the other thing is, you would have seen this from far away. You would see that, like, because as you were going through the bay, as you were circling down through the bay, you've had a full view of the peninsula the whole time. It's actually a very nice day. It's cool, but it's early spring, but it's sunny. So finally, you get to a point where he's like, okay, it was discovered down there by the beach, sort of on the edge of the ridge there. So follow me. So you clamber down give me a dexterity check.
Okay. Let me see what. Okay, so roll 20, 14. What's my dex?
Oh, you're fine. I mean, but tell me what your dex is, because your dex, I remember, wasn't terrible, was it?
Dex is same as acrobatics, right?
Well, dexterity is at the top.
Okay, yeah. Oh, that's my skill beside dex. So yeah, plus 2, so 16.
Yeah, you're fine. You're fine. It's a little sort of like rough, and maybe if you'd been a little less dexterous, you might have slipped a bit, but otherwise you're fine. You get down to the bottom of the path. It's like you can tell that this path is relatively fresh, because I don't think anyone had a reason really to go down here much. Most people would kind of keep going. You could tell the path that it branches off of and that you've gone down. The path you were on continues basically to the point. In the distance, you can see what looks like a small little structure. You're under. Sorry, I will add one detail from your night's sleep. One thing you would have noticed at night is that there were small fires on both of the tips of the lower jaw and the southern jaw peninsula. To act as like guiding lighthouses, sort of thing. Not huge fires, just small little, like, oh yeah, I think there's like a little bonfire there going on or something like that. So you head down this path, and it ends into sort of like on one side is a cliff with just basically a sheer drop. It's sort of like with rough grass and terrain. And on the west side, that's on the west side, is a drop essentially into the water. From here, you could probably survive the drop. Maybe if you like tucked yourself. But it'd be a jump. But on the other side, against the ridge that you were walking on down low, and you've actually clambered down a fair amount. You've clambered down to like almost 100 feet. So down to this area, it's sort of just like rocky things that you've sort of skidded through.
Okay.
Is a solid wall face, and there, at the wall, if we now look at the map, which I've had the whole time, is let me see if I can do it. Did you see that? The little blue circle?
Yep.
Okay, so you're basically standing about here, you and Brother Arhan right here, and right here, ooh, I love using this, I promise I won't do this too much, is a set of double stone doors. Now, something that's not clear here is that all along the ridge wall by the green here, there's a lot of rubble. There's a lot of like large stones that have fallen and things like that. Like it does look like some kind of large landslide or something happened recently that revealed everything. And here at the doors is two large stone doors that look like they would have opened outwards at some point. Have kind of fallen off and slid to the side, creating a gap. I couldn't really, this is my own fault, I couldn't draw this effectively in the tool I was using. So those double doors that you see there, do you see them? Let me just reveal a bit more of the map for you.
Should I share the screen for the
Yeah, I guess I would at this point, yeah.
Okay, let's... Okay.
Okay, I'm just gonna see how... Yeah, okay, so you can see it. So you see how there's two, like, this flat surface with the double doors there. Those doors technically aren't closed like they appear on the map. Sorry, again, it's my map drawing skills. They're actually off to the side around, like, one door has slouched over here, and one door is slouched kind of over here, creating a gap here that two people could walk through if they got close. One person could get through just fine. The doors are heavy, like very thick, very like made of very strong stone, and braced a bit with like a bit of what used to be. So it's probably with some kind of steel or something. It's rusted and fallen off.
Can I peer inside that crack? Sorry.
Yes, you can. Okay. And this is what you see. Again, I'm a little rusty at this revealing thing, so you would see. Let me just think. Sorry, I thought I had this right. Reveal area, polygon. Why is it not letting me do this? Reveal area. Sorry, I had this working like a moment ago. I don't know what's changed. Oh.
It's going to show on roll 20 here?
Yeah. Okay, I think I might have figured it out. Polygon. What the fuck? Why is this not working? Yeah, like I should be able to... Like I should be just drawing a thing here, but... Okay, I think I've got it figured out. This will take me a second because I kind of messed things up.
That's okay.
But here we go. I think. Do you see that?
Okay, yeah.
Sorry about that little gray line. That's. Let me just get rid of that. So you look inside and you see sort of a... It looks like a moderately wide chamber that, like... There's rubble off to the side, but there's a relatively open path down the center. Doesn't seem to be anything moving, and there's no light sources.
Okay. So, seems okay to try to, like, squeeze through. Like, I don't see any...
And Brother Arhan is like, you first, this is why I hired you.
Okay. I'm trying to wonder if I should have, like, a weapon out as I'm, like...
Actually, you know what? Let's start adding tokens. Okay, this will take only a moment.
What's a token?
Like
a marker?
Yeah, like we're going to show where you are explicitly. Okay. For now, sorry, I should have had these ready. Okay, there we go. Sorry, I next time I'll have these ready to go off the bat, sort of thing. I was relying too much on like, oh, this is going to be fine. This will be good. Yeah. Okay. This little blonde gentleman here is going to be Brother Arhan. Okay. I'm going to use this guy for you for now. We will come up with a better token for you later. These are free tokens. So this first entrance area, you can see beyond to the west, to the east, where that like the darkness continues. You get the impression there's a large area beyond it. Yeah, and so that's it. But otherwise, there isn't really much in this area that you... Give me a perception check.
Okay. So let me roll my 20.
Yeah. Also, you might want to start saying things like I search an area or I check things out, sort of thing. Like I'm almost like telling you to look for stuff, but in the future what will happen is I'll be doing this role passively. Okay. Like you won't know about it, but I have a way to determine whether or not you would see something just by default. If you do things like I want to start searching, then it becomes a die roll sort of thing. So you might pass things or miss things if you don't actively search for them. Okay. I'm being a little bit like hand-holdy and tutorial guidey on this mission, but yeah.
Okay. Right. Okay. So you said this is perception?
Yeah.
So I rolled an 8. What is my perception? My perception is +2. So 10.
Yeah, seems pretty empty. I mean, there's rubble and there's like some...
Is there rubble. Light? Is it really dark? Or?
No, the only light would be essentially your torch that you and Arhan are both carrying torches.
Okay. Okay. So I'm going to start pushing forward, but slowly.
Okay. Move your character to where you would like to.
Is Arhan like in yet, or he's still standing outside?
Okay. He's just going to basically follow you. Like he'll pretty much be wherever you go. I'll move him to follow you, sort of thing.
Okay. I want to scan around, and not only visually scan around, I also want to listen if I hear movement.
Okay. Visually, give me another perception check then. Now that you're actively searching.
Okay, 19 plus 2, so I got a critical success.
So there really doesn't seem to be anything in this first area. It's pretty empty. Listening, you can't see into the darkness. Like the perception doesn't give you dark vision or anything. It just means what you can see with the thing and hear. You hear the sound of scratching, maybe? Somewhere coming from the darkness ahead of you.
Okay. And it's like quiet scratching? It's not like...
Yeah, it's not very active, and you're not even like at times it sort of comes and goes very like it's not super active, but it is there. Maybe very slight, but there.
I want to push forward then.
Okay, move your guy to where you want.
How many moves can I go? Can I just keep...
At this point, you can move, like, we're not in active combat, so you can just drag it to wherever you want to. You can go there, you can drag it right up to the edge of the darkness. That sort of thing only matters when it's, like, when we're actually fighting. Okay, so from here, as you raise your torches to look in, you would see something like... Wait, sorry, I've got it. There's some stuff here which makes it kind of like I have to do some rough polygoning. Very rough. You'll understand why in a second. This is one part that, like, other things I'll get faster at, but this is just like, nope, this is what I have to do for this little section here. Because it's not just a big, open, empty room sort of thing. Okay, I think I messed it up a little bit, but that's fine. I can fix it later.
This is that dark patch, right?
Yeah. Basically, what I'm doing is I'm creating a polygon to remove what you would see. So this is what you would see. You can see that there are columns, large, old columns. Everything's old, by the way. I guess you could just use that adjective all the time in this room. Large columns seem to hold up this giant chamber. Well, giant is kind of a little stretching it. It's only like about 55, 60 feet. Well, you don't know how far it is across, but you get the impression it's not much more than what you can see here. The columns sort of block off the sides and allow your vision for that. But at the front here, where, let me reveal a little bit more of the map, just to see, because you would probably see this. So, somewhere around here, there's some kind of altar there. There's something like a dais that steps lead up to, some small columns. And also, let me remove. I keep doing this. I keep messing up certain stuff, so I'm just gonna get rid of that little gray stretch. There seems to be like an altar up there. The ground is covered in rubble. It makes moving a little hard at times, but it would be like I'd say you'd be fine for now. It's not that bad, but like if you try to get into this section of rubble or this section of rubble, that would cause you to have some problems, like moving through that area. The ground. There are hints that once there was some wooden things here that look like pews on the ground, but the time has rotted them so far. It's more like you're seeing like little wooden, like decay and stuff like that. Like you're not even certain, but it seems like mostly the stonework has survived, but anything organic like wood is pretty much just like rotted away almost entirely. So like honestly, you might not even see the pews. You might see, you know what, I'm going to do one little quick change there. There's stone pews on the ground. Like, you sort of see what's left of them, but even that, over the passage of time, has rotted away. It's also something as a minor note to think about is that this is a coastal sea. Like, this is on the sea coast, so the air is salty, so that wears things down.
Okay, that makes sense.
So yeah, so basically where you are, you see some pillars leaning in. You see some, like, the dais here, where the altar was. And, yeah, there's rubble, 2 piles of rubble in front of you. Yep.
Okay, I want to move up to here.
Okay.
And I want to look around for any sort of traps or signs of, like, recent people being there. Recent movement.
Let me reveal what you would see at this point, then. Shazam!
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you see a lot more of the time. You've been walking around. Also, I haven't kept up with him, but Brother Arhan sees that you haven't gotten into a fight, so he's kind of just hanging out beside you. You know?
Okay.
Now, in searching, something I don't have on the map here, but you do find something, actually. Actually, roll a perception check.
Okay.
I mean, you're gonna... I just said you found something.
I rolled a 5 plus, I think, is 2.
Okay, so Brother Arhan goes...
7.
As you two are walking in, you start checking out the sides. He goes over here, and he says, hey, I found something over here.
Okay.
So when you get... what he's found over there is a bedroll and a small pack. Give me another perception check.
8, 9, 10. 10.
Looks a little disturbed, but this was probably where somebody was camping.
Okay. So that could be sign of
let me just do a quick
kid.
roll for somebody for something. Okay, so Brother Arhan says, okay, this is definitely, he rolled quite well. This is definitely I believe, the pack that Dermen took with him, and this is definitely a bedroll similar to one of the ones we have back at the monastery. So this is where he slept. The only thing that concerns me is, well, first of all, he's not here. Mm-hmm. But also, it looks like he might have left it in a hurry.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, it's wondering which way he would have ran. You would think he would run out, right?
Something, again, sorry, this was the next thing I have to mention, but I mentioned this first just because you would see that first.
Okay.
So over here is a door, but similar to the doors back at the thing, this door is like, has fallen forward so that you can actually see. I'll make this I'll give you a little taste. But you can kind of see that there's a passageway back there.
I see.
This door down here is still intact.
Okay. It would make sense to check the door closest to his bedroll pack.
Probably, yeah. Well, like I said, the door is open. Like, there's actually an entrance into the passageway back there. And Brother Arhan actually speaks up and says, huh, that's odd. There wasn't, the word was it was just this room. And that the stone doors were unopenable. Like, they were, there was talk about getting, actually, some of your Dwarven compatriots to come and take a look at it at some point, but the doors weren't mentioned as open. Or at least both were supposed to be closed, but, this is strange.
Okay. Doomor wants to investigate this door at the top here.
Okay.
Is there rubble in front of it?
It sort of makes it rough terrain. You got to crawl over it a bit to get it. Okay. The rubble is also my very ineffective way of saying this is kind of hard to get over because the door has fallen forward.
Okay.
Like, this would be something as a fighting person you would know instantly. It looks like whatever happened to this door, it didn't just, like, sort of fall off, but it kind of, like, it might have been pushed.
Oh, I see. Like a barricade, or...
Yeah, like something from beyond the door wanted through the door.
Oh. Uh-oh. Okay. Can I just inspect... Is there any way to see past the cracks, or is there any...
Is there any way to see past... You mean, like, deeper into the corridor?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you would actually probably be able to see this within torchlight. It's not that far; it's only a few feet in, so you would see from where you are standing something like this. It just basically seems to go ahead about 15 feet. Oh, by the way, each square in this is 5 feet. That's kind of the default for D&D. And then it looks like it hits a T-junction branches to the left and right.
Okay. I want to try to pry open the door.
Oh, it's open. You can just clamp over. Remember, it's sort of like it fell forward. Sorry, I guess I wasn't clear enough. It kind of got pushed. Something pushed it down, and now, like, you can get in. It's not... You got to clamber over it and some rubble that it's leaning on, but it wouldn't... Unless you were fighting, it wouldn't be that hard to get.
Okay. So I've walked in... I want to try to see and listen now, like, as much as I can, as I feel like I could be in danger now.
Give me a perception check.
Okay. 11, 12, 13. 13.
You hear two noises. Sorry, let me just move Arhan, because he would be sticking with you. some slight scratching sounds back from the large chamber. It seems to be coming more from around the altar area, if you had to guess. But you also hear some kind of very slight intermittent, sounds like stone grinding on stone, very, very shortly, kind of noise to the left, down the left passage. Like, it's not right, it doesn't see, your guess is whatever it is wouldn't be right around the corner, but it would be somewhere to the left.
Okay. I want to just like slowly move up and then like use my torch to peer around to see as much as I can, especially towards that area of the noise.
All right. And let me reveal what you see. So, when you first check towards the noise, you kind of see... Yeah, that's about right. So that's in that direction, and then in this direction... And this is, like, easily discernible, like, you can see with the light what thing. Beyond, you get another 20 feet, so another 4 squares of dimness where you can kind of make out stuff. Your impression in that dimness towards this direction, towards the west, is seems to be a larger room. And your impression here, though, is that the passage probably ends up ahead somewhere. And if it's not clear, these are there's openings on the side. They look kind of like small, unornated, I don't know what the term is, like non-fancy archways.
Okay. I think I want to just keep moving towards that sound.
Okay. Move your guy along as far as you want. I'll tell you if you get too far and if something happens. Okay, yep, you're still here. Now, I'm assuming, well, I'm not going to assume, but I'd like to ask, are you going to check out the 2 things on the side?
Yeah, I purposely came to this area just in case, like, there's something straight ahead I can duck out into these corners.
Okay, I'll just, you check out both of these. Once again, a little gray line because I'm bad at this. And then over here.
Are they like sleeping chambers?
Exactly.
Okay.
So what you see inside is like a little monk's cell. Sorry, like priest cell. And there are beds here, but they're very like, they're stone beds, which doesn't look comfortable. They're not like, one minor thing, I'm going to give this to you because just for free because I'm a good guy, but because you grew up with dwarves, you know a lot about stone furniture and architecture. And you've seen, like, you had a wooden bed made for you when you were growing up, like, sort of thing. Like, humans don't sleep on stone beds, but these are stone beds. Actually, you know what? Arhan speaks up. And he goes, yeah, it looks like these beds were often the elves were a very austere people at times, and their temples were usually, you weren't going to spend a lot of time at them, so it's weird that these are carved from stone, but it's not that weird. Like, it's sort of...
Okay.
Yeah. Like, it's odd. It's odd that there are stone beds here, but I don't know that much about this temple, other than it was probably to one of the elven gods. I can't be certain which one.
Do I still hear that sound?
That scratch, now that you're here, appears to be coming from here. If it's somewhere, it's in that left thing, and then the right. Okay.
I want to move right like there so that I can scan the perimeter with my torch light to try to see if I can see the source of that sound.
Okay. So from this torch, I'll give you up here as well.
So if this was like a video game, we'd be loading right now.
Yes, you'd be loading it and going, what is it loading in, taking so long to load in for? You see a skeleton. Now this is a large skeleton. You see, like, okay, gonna have to take a slight break here to discuss the undead. Undead is bad. Messing with raising corpses is considered bad by the faith. It's considered bad by the dwarves in Abat. Nobody likes necromancy. It's bad. And someone has raised this large skeleton. It's like, it might have been a human, but if it was a human, it was a very large human.
Okay.
And what the skeleton is doing at first is pushing against this. If you notice, you can see the tip of the bed, and instead of it being straight like the other beds, it's sort of off to the side. It's been pushed aside, and the skeleton is shoving at it, going like pushing at it, trying. Like, you're not certain why he's doing it, but he seems to be doing it almost like on automatic, if you had to say, like kind of by instinct.
He's being drawn to it.
Yeah, he's like, he feels like he has to do that. But he stops, and your torchlight and your presence, and he turns and looks at you, and he starts rising. Are you ready to do some combat?
I'm ready to mess him up.
All right. So we're going to start with, now again, this is my first time running combat on Roll20, so everybody who's watching,
This is my first time combat in any tabletop game in my life.
All right. We'll see how this goes. If I kill you here, I won't, but we'll see what happens. All right. So first thing we do is we roll initiative. Go to the dice tab, that pull-out thing, and just click on the D20 once.
Okay. 9.
Okay. Add your bonus to it.
And
your dexterity bonus.
My dexterity bonus is 2, so 11.
All right. So he will go first. He doesn't... As a skeleton, he's large, he's big. This skeleton does not have a bonus to his initiative.
Okay.
So, the first thing he does is move. You can do two things. You can move and attack. You basically have two actions. You can move or you can attack. Sorry, it's been a while since I read the combat thing, so this might get a little rough. But he is going to take a swing at you.
Okay.
And you are AC... It would be at the top of your character sheet there. Your armor class. In the little shield?
Sorry, what am I looking for? Armor? Armor class?
Yeah, the number that's in
14.
14, okay. So let's roll a die, see what it does. Roll a d20. Oh, 1. Not only does he miss, he kind of falls down. Like, he's sort of like... He's so big, and the honest truth is, like, he seems almost, like, too big for this area. Okay. And, oh shit, sorry, I made that a GM roll, but can I reveal this roll? Okay, he legit rolled, I rolled a 1 for this guy on his first attack. I don't have a way to prove that. Yeah. So not only does he take a swipe at you and miss, but he kind of stumbles and falls down, so you're going to have advantage on your next attack on him.
Okay. So great sword.
Yep.
I want to lop this guy's head off.
Then fucking let's lop his head off, my friend. So roll a do 2 d20 rolls. Like, roll d20 once, then roll it once again.
Oh, can I not? So separate rolls, not the two?
Separate rolls, exactly.
Separate rolls? Okay.
I'll explain what advantages. Advantages is basically you're rolling, like, you know how you're always rolling a d20 to try and hit a number. You get to roll 2 d20s separately, then choose whichever has the higher number.
I see. Okay.
Disadvantage works the other way. You would roll 2 d20s, then choose whichever had the lower number.
Okay. So first one rolled is 2. Second one I roll 16.
There you go. That hits him. Okay, so now roll for damage.
Another 20?
The damage would be in your... If you look in your inventory... under equipment, you will find your sword, and then it will say, just click on it. It should have the, oh, sorry, let me just do one thing on my character sheet for Arhan that will make things a little bit more obvious.
Great sword.
Yeah, so if you have it equipped, it should be under actions, all, or attack, and you'll see great sword. Do you see that?
Actions, all, or under actions. Yeah, actions. Yeah. What am I looking for? The hit or damage? Damage?
Damage, yeah. It should say like 1d something.
It says 2d6 plus 3.
Ooh, nice. All right, so roll. So if you click on that and tell me what number you get.
So click on that icon, the 2D. Okay. 13.
13.
Yeah.
And what is he at? Whew. Whew, boy. This guy is... He is, like, stumbles back. He's like, what? Oh, you know what? I didn't roll initiative for Arhan. I'm going to have him go last.
Okay.
So he's like... I mean, you can't really daze a skeleton, but... Or at least I don't think you can. But he's definitely, like... Oh, like, you've heard him a lot. Like, you've lobbed off basically, like, an arm or something like that. And, like, half his leg isn't feeling good. Like, he's really... You fucked him up good. Like, you laid it...
I've carried stone heavier than you'll fear.
Oh, wow. He doesn't understand you. He's basically an animated corpse, but... If he... a little... Maybe there's something, a glint in his eye, where he's like... this enemy is powerful. So... Then comes Brother Arhan, and he's like, you're good? Has he hit you? No, it doesn't sound like he has. Mm-hmm. So what he is going to do... He's actually going to use a spell on you. He is going to use... Bless.
Bless. He's going to bless me.
He is going to bless you. And what this does is... Okay. So basically, the next time you make a roll, you're going to add 1d4 to the number.
Oh, okay.
Alright. So, it's the skeleton's turn again. So what happens is basically, there were the three of you. So the skeleton went first, he missed.
Mm-hmm.
You went, you've almost killed him. I'll level with you. This, like, in so much as the skeleton can look good or bad, he looks in it, like, in a bad way. And then, Brother Arhan, like, he reached out to you and you felt just sort of like a slight improvement in your, like, cool. Outlook of the world. He basically cast a spell called Bless on you, which gives you 1d4 to the next time you do an attack roll or a saving throw.
So then I add the roll to the d4 dice? Is that what that
What
means?
you do is you do the d20 rolls. So let's say you rolled like a 12.
Mm-hmm.
Then you would add whatever bonuses you had if it was an attack. And then you would add a d4 on top of that. So you then roll a d4 and add that number to your original thing. It's basically just a way to push numbers up slightly. It's like not the strongest.
It's a buff, right?
Yeah, it's like a buff. Exactly.
That's
So it's a
okay.
one-shot buff.
Bless up.
Bless up. So, now the skeleton's like staggering, but sort of he's regaining his thing. Like, again, he's not really self-conscious at this point. He's just, well, the truth is he is a little bit. Like, he's a little kind of like, you could tell that whoever reanimated him, there was a little spark of the original thing left in there, and the skeleton is concerned, but he is just going to lash out at you. So let me make sure this is not a hidden gem roll. This time, he takes a swing at you. 14. I think he hits. What's your armor class?
14.
14, yeah. Because he would get plus... I think he has plus... Sorry, I have so many windows open. Over time, I'll get better at organizing this, everyone. I apologize. So yeah, so the skeleton... Yeah, he hits, definitely. And so... He now is going to hit you for 1d6 plus 4. So whatever this roll is, plus 4 hit points. 3. Take 7 hit points of damage.
So I do this on my...
Character sheet.
I'm assuming it's the damage here, right? Damage. There's a button.
It's basically, if you look at your... Sorry, let me go back to the thing there. Do you see on the far right near the top, there's a thing that says current max, and it should say, like, I can't remember your hit points. I think it was like 12 and 12.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I have hit points right now. It shows 11.
Yeah, because that's what you are. You're at full health.
Okay.
So what you do is you basically click on that, and then you minus the damage that you took. So at this point, it was 7 points of damage.
7. Okay, so 7, and then I click damage. So I'm down to 4.
Oh, yeah. No, he's onto you. All right. It's back to you again. What would you like to do?
Go for it. I'm going to give him another swing with a great sword.
That's great.
So, roll 20.
Yep.
11. And then it's the attack thing again, the damage thing?
Yeah, your strength bonus, basically.
So I click...
It should say... Sorry. Your character sheet should, when you... Yeah. basically add your strength bonus to that.
Is that after the same as thing as when I click the great sword's damage? Is that what it is? And it gives me a number?
This is your attack roll. So basically, with your attack,
strength is at my strength is +5.
Okay, sorry. You know what? Actually, I've got just to make it easier for you. Go to where you rolled your damage for the thing on that little actions thing. And what does it say for hit DC?
+5.
Oh, that's right. You are fucking strong as.
So this was a 16 plus the D4.
Yep. Roll the D4.
1.
17.
17.
Oh, you hit him. Now roll the damage again.
So another 20. D20.
No, that's that. Remember that
oh yes. Okay.
The thing you click in the thing there. The thing you click in the thing there.
11.
The bones dissemble. They just. You hit them so hard, whatever was keeping them animated and together is gone,
nice.
And it collapses to the ground. Just a pile of bones.
Yes. So, one swing, one breath, one broken shield.
Yes. He didn't have a shield, but
one broken skull.
Yes. There we go. And Brother Arhan reaches over and says, "Do you mind if I heal you?"
Heal up, brother.
All right, let's do a quick little cure wounds on you. Take, exactly what you needed. Even more than you needed. 13 hit points of damage, but you can never heal beyond your maximum, so you're just back to 11.
Okay.
There's a reason you have a priest traveling with you this first time. Also, the priest reaches into his pack and he's like, "Here, take 2 of these. I suspect you might need them more than I do." And he gives you 2 potions of healing.
Okay, so now I just go 7 heal back to 11.
Yeah.
And then add potions to my inventory?
Yeah. If you go add to your inventory...
What are they called?
Potions of healing.
Man,
At least I think that's what they're called. Do they have a weird name for them? Healing potion?
Yeah, potions of healing, yeah.
Yeah, and add 2 to your inventory. And those are going to be considered always at your... You can just, as a bonus action, use them.
I had one question. Like, whenever I look this up in Beyond D&D Beyond, I see that there's always, like, a double. There's one that's called Legacy Potions of Healing, and...
Those are for the older versions of the game. You can ignore those entirely. Those are for... there was... D&D was released... Well, I mean, D&D was released back in the 70s, but that's not what we're talking about. But there was a version that came out in, I believe, 2015, before this current version. Maybe a little later than that. And the legacy entries are for that. Okay. I think there's a way to turn off legacy. I'll look into that more.
Okay.
Yeah, congratulations. You have slain your first foe with a mighty hit. You dropped him to the ground. The skeleton collapses just instantly. And yeah, that's it. The skeleton is no longer trying to push the stone bed. And yeah.
And I look at my great sword and I say, "This sword sings like a pick through ore."
You are really fanciful, says Arhan, but yep. A pick through ore, oh yes, you were raised by dwarves, weren't you?
Okay, now I want to continue my investigation.
Okay.
I want to look, what was the skeleton scratching at? I want to go towards that.
Okay. So here... let me just do a lumpy reveal of that. It's basically the same setup as the other beds. But this one, what has happened is the skeleton had been pushing it to the side a bit. Now, give me a perception check.
Okay, so I'll roll 20, 10, and my perception is a 2, so 12.
There might be a small depression under the bed.
Can I lift the bed and just move it out of the way?
Not directly. You might be able to push it. You are really strong, but it will be, like, quite hard. It would be a strength check. That...
What do you mean by the depression? That it's like...
Like, you would expect to find just, like, flat, like, flooring, like the stone flooring underneath. But it looks kind of like, there was a rough carved, like, little... almost like a hole. Well, not a hole. A hole would go somewhere, but more just like, imagine if underneath the bed someone had carved down, like, maybe like a 6-inch spot under the bed.
So it's like a little dugout kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah, I want to check that dugout, like, as well as I can.
Okay,
with, like, a torch, maybe?
Yeah, okay, now that you're looking specifically into it, there's something inside of it. It looks sort of metal, like long. Might be, you know what? You're a fighter. You think it might be a sword.
Okay, I want to reach for it.
You can't pull it out with the bed where it is.
Okay, so I'll go back to like the strength check to move the bed as much as I can.
Sounds good. It's gonna be tough.
Okay.
Let me just see if you know what. Arhan has sort of just been watching you do this. He's like, you know what? Let me
Hey, give me a hand, brother.
I don't think I'm gonna be able to, like, I can't push it. I'm a weak as fuck. Well, not weak as fuck, but I'm definitely no longer the fighter I used to be. But here, let me cast another bless on you and give you. Hopefully, that will
nice.
give you the internal fortified strength to push this. So, boop. He does the same thing he did before. Just kind of goes. Blah, 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 blah. He sort of reaches out to you and goes like, may the blessing of the faith and the Christians and all may. He mumbles a bunch of stuff that just kind of like, you're like.
Humana.
Yeah, but it's some kind of brief liturgy, and again, you suddenly feel like a little bit of an internal strength to think. Like you feel a little.
I feel
more
fully
fortunate.
erect.
I mean, I'm just gonna say no to that. You do not get an erection from the blessing.
No. I mean, like my spine. I have better posture now.
Oh, then yes. you feel a little stronger the thing, and you're ready to make this attempt.
Okay.
All right, so roll a die. Roll a d20.
19.
Oh, fucking... Okay, you don't even need the bless. So with, like, one mighty heave, you go... And you just, like, you do that thing where you push so hard you almost start stumbling a bit yourself. You're like, whoa, I didn't expect to push this so easily. So I can't move the bed thing easily, so just pretend it's now fully pushed up against,
Okay.
this wall here. And underneath is what you expected, what I sort of you guess you were probably going to expect to see. There's a small depression that had been carved out of the floor, and in the depression is a longsword. It's about that, which is a fairly long sword. The depression was almost the length of the whole bed. Yeah, there's a sword just lying there. But
Okay.
As someone who's grown up with dwarves, because groon is a term. I remember when I grown up. As someone who grew up in a dwarven environment, you can't, like, judge perfectly value and stuff like that, but even you can tell this sword is a very well-made sword.
Okay, I grab the sword and I want to inspect.
Okay. Well, first of all, it's old, and as you look at it, like, it seems remarkable this thing is still a thing, because the design is what they used to call... They call Old Elvish now, and, like, because you grew up with dwarves, you did learn a thing or two about smithing and, like, stuff. And you also grew up in a smith. So you'd heard tales of, like, old Elven metalwork and stuff like that. And they would be like this, where it's sort of... It's not, like, I'm not talking like Tolkien, everything looks like a leaf elf, but it is very sort of, like, thin and... It appears quite strong, even just giving it a light tap against the stone, which, you probably shouldn't do. That can break a sword, but, like, you can tell, like, oh, this is really well made, but it does also feel very, very old. Like, it's definitely a carving. It doesn't look like any of the styles you would see modern swords made with. It's definitely not dwarven in make. And again, it slightly has, like, it's a fairly straight, what you would call a European blade. There's not much curving to it, but there is, like, ornate curves along the spine of the sword. The hilt is... sort of curves a little bit. Like, it's got a very curvy feel, which in your mind, just from growing up, feels kind of elvish.
Okay.
But otherwise, like, it's a sword. You don't...
I want to show
very well-made sword.
Show it to Brother... What was his name? Erden?
Arhan.
I want to show it to Brother Arhan and ask him, I wonder why the skeleton was going for the sword.
The thing about necromancy is... most of the time, it raises a corpse, and a corpse will follow the... Basically, you can raise a corpse, but then you have to give it an instruction. And here's what I suspect. And it's concerning that we've got a skeleton. I'll talk about that in a second, but what it is corpses are generally unintelligent, unsentient. They can't think for themselves. You have to tell them what to do, like guard an area, dig up a hole, that sort of thing. Like necromancers, those foul people use corpses for all sorts of things. Now, what I suspect happened here is this corpse was raised to protect this area. It was hostile towards you, so it probably had an instruction of attack any whatever the parameters were. They can't be too complicated, by the way. They can't be like on the third day, the fifth one. They're pretty much just like attack anybody who isn't me, attack anyone who isn't wearing this. That's about as complicated as you can get. Mm-hmm. And it might have been sort of like defend this area and attack strangers who come in. And this is me just piecing this together. I have no way to know this. I suspect that whoever this large skeleton was knew about the sword when it was alive. And so when it was raised and given the order to defend the area, some tiny spark of its original mind, its original who it was, had told it, I should grab that sword because that sword will help me protect the area. It's uncommon. It doesn't always happen that the undead, remember enough about their life to perform action, but it's not unheard of. This seems a pretty strong manifestation of it, but it does seem thing. But I'd like to also mention something else.
Okay.
Skeletons don't last for 1,600 years. They don't last for weeks, like for a month or two at the most. You have to be constantly re-raising them. This skeleton shouldn't be here. If this skeleton was part of... I don't know what happened in this temple, but maybe there was some kind of massacre or somebody died. If he died in this temple back 1,600 years ago, the last time the elves controlled this land, it wouldn't be active now. Mm-hmm. It would be, like, even if it had been raised right then, it would have, like... The spell doesn't last forever, so someone raised this, and not that long ago, which is odd.
I want to ask the brother if he recognizes the body type of this skeleton, as it's probably not a dwarf, or not a elf.
This is there's a race that's very... Now, you're going to have vaguely heard of these. There's a race called as in used to exist beyond certain Goliaths. What they are is they're sort of a... this is where it gets a little unpleasant to talk about, but it's a breeding between giants and humans. It's the sort of thing that...
Okay.
The situation is rarely pleasant for anyone.
Mm-hmm.
So Goliaths exist, or they existed. They're very rare. They're like... I haven't seen one in... I can't remember the last time I saw one, ever, to be honest. And they're not in Ilhain, and they're not in Ustland, they're not in Foul or Nuthrin, or I don't think the elves would deal with them. So this must have been a Goliath who died here at the temple.
Okay.
Or you know what, there is the alternative thing that somebody brought the skeleton here for this purpose. But no, they wouldn't have done that. How would the skeleton would have known about the sword? Like, they don't investigate or anything like that. So that skeleton died here at least 1,600 years ago, or whenever that hole was dug for the sword. And again, the sword's age, which is, by the way, that is a remarkable example of Old Elvish weaponsmithing.
Wonder why it was hidden under this bed, though.
It's hard to say. At that point, it's all pure conjecture. It could be maybe the Goliath lived here and kept it hidden for a purpose to defend in case there was trouble in the place. Because moving a bed like this for a Goliath of that size would have been like you. He would have had maybe a little challenge, but it wouldn't have been an impossible task by any stretch. They're very strong people, or they were. Again, I can't remember the last time I saw one. So he must have known it was there. My guess, since it was dug out and under a bed, he'd been here for a while, because that's not something you could do overnight. I mean, maybe if you were an expert excavator like your adoptive family, but So my guess is he knew the sword was here. Yeah. As to why he hid it, I don't know. Maybe it was something that this was a temple. Maybe the priest forbid him to have it, but he couldn't let it go.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it had its importance to him. At this point, it's all pure conjecture. I could not tell you what the reason was.
Okay. Could I check the Goliath skeleton's body if he dropped anything?
There's nothing there. He was purely a skeleton.
Okay.
You can look him over if you like, but I'll save you the roll and just tell you that he was just a skeleton.
Cool. Okay.
He wasn't wearing any clothes. He didn't have an entire thing. Like, any clothing he would have had rotted away long since then. It was just a skeleton. And then as soon as you essentially hit him hard enough and killed him, whatever was keeping him animated disappeared, and he just collapsed a pile of bones on the floor. Might be an interesting find to somebody just to have a Goliath skeleton, but there's nothing there.
Okay, I'm not gonna take his bones. I guess, is this area clear, or should I check? Well,
you still haven't checked in the little area to the north.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I want to clear out this perimeter, so I'll move that way.
So revealing this. Yeah, it appears to be a normal cell. You haven't done much in the way of searching. You pretty much sort of glanced in them and then moved down, had the fight with the skeleton, and found the sword. But you haven't really checked out the 3 other cells in this thing. Okay. Also, I just as a sidebar, I apologize for the numbers on the map. I made them a part of the image, so next time they won't be
there. That's fine. Yeah, I want to search out this area so I can
give me give me an investigation check. And give me a perception check. We'll make your searching.
Okay. So roll 20 plus perception.
Yeah.
13 plus 2. 15.
Okay. You don't seem to find anything else in any of the cells. They're all just stone bed. There's a little carve out in each wall where maybe a candle would have stayed or something like that. There's a little bit of ancient rotten detritus, I think that's the word, on the ground. So there was some things that might have once been personal effects, maybe even a book or something, but as far as you can tell, there's nothing of any note or interest in this area.
Now, did you mention the scratching noise was coming from the altar?
Yeah, it was coming back from the large room.
I want to move back to that room to investigate the final sound before I look anywhere else.
Sure. Oh, no, I don't want the skeleton. I'm just going to move the skeleton for a second because I had Arhan on top of him. Skeleton is not alive. Okay. So you're here. Now you would start seeing... Sorry, edit here? How long are we going for?
If you want to finish whenever, if you want to clear it up or find a to be continued. Because it seems like this...
I might give you a cliffhanger in this very room.
Perfect.
Start editing it.
Okay.
Sorry. Okay, so what you've revealed, as you go back and you search, you kind of see... Sorry, it takes me a second to just...
Yeah, no worries.
I don't want...
I'm still coming off the adrenaline from killing that Goliath skeleton.
I'm hiding an area. You can't see what's in here.
Oh, I'm closing my eyes.
Oh, no. Okay, we're good. We're good.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. It's going to take me a little while to get used to this stuff. And then you kind of see... You also, I guess, through your investigation would see... I got to remember to kind of stick with the walls for this.
I really want to listen for the source of that scratching sound.
The scratching has almost completely died, but it's definitely, or what little you hear or you heard was coming from back here behind the altar.
Okay. I want to cautiously step up on the altar because I'm worried for any sort of traps or anything.
Show me where you're moving. Oh, I should point out, if you were looking at something, this part here is a tall, solid, relief of some kind of... At this point, you know what, actually, this is a detail I'll mention to you because you would see it by now. It appears to be an elf, a tall, sort of thin. You can't really tell what gender it is because elves, like, the statue isn't very, like, representative of gender. Standing, looking down on two smaller elves who are sort of holding their hands, like in a something like a handshake.
Okay.
It's sort of hard to describe. It's not the arm clasp you're used to. Like something actually quite like a modern handshake.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's the thing. Arhan takes a moment to look at it for a second, thinking. Make this a GM.
Arham seems to be high on lore.
Yeah.
So any.
Yeah, he goes, I think this is a temple to Maquette, but I'm not 100% certain. He was the elven god of... You see, the gods back then weren't as defined as ours were. Like, their gods weren't as defined, but it was like... He was the god of, like, agreements, pacts, bargains, and also seals, and, like, you know... Like, he was a god of deals, and so it's sort of hard to describe his exact thing. I don't remember that much about him, but just the two people seeming to make a deal with him, with the god watching over it, tells me this is probably a temple to Maquette, which is odd because Maquette never got a lot of temples. He was more someone you called when you were making a deal. You wouldn't make a temple where you were making a deal, sort of thing. Does that make any sense?
It's peculiar.
It's odd to find a temple to him around here. But,
Okay, I want to search that area, right. that statue or that mural or whatever that.
Like behind it, which is still faded off, or.
Yeah. So I guess I'll move forward.
Show me where you're gonna end up.
Oh, I have to go behind it.
Oh no. Hide, Harry. Don't look south. I was trying to hide something. Oh, God. Alright, we're all good. Alright. Yeah, so show me which side you would go if you think. Okay. So what happens is, you come around the back and the source of the scratching is revealed. And what you find back there are... Okay, I don't have the assets, but I'm also going to end it here.
Okay.
So there you find two giant rats huddled against the altar's back. They appear to have made some kind of nest there. Ew. And they look at you, and they are not attacking, but they are waiting to see what you do.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. Maybe not the greatest cliffhanger, but probably the best I can come up with before I lose my voice.
So to be continued. Doomor encounters two rats. Are they giant rats? Or are they
giant rats, yes.
Giant? Two giant rats.
Each one's about the size of like a medium dog. They're not huge, but they are pretty damn fucking big for rats.
Like New York City rats.
Yeah, they've got pizza in their mouth and they're running up a subway station.
Well, I'll think about what Doomor would do next in this situation of the rat nest. But that was a pretty good adventure. Got to do my first fight that was successful. I didn't die yet. And thank you to Arnheim. I'm full health.
Yes. He is happy to do it. He is a priest. His job is to heal the weak and to help you in your thing. And he's also like, I couldn't have fought that large skeleton. As you walk back, he's like, I'm glad you're here. Do more. You've done me a solid service. You're worth every gold I'm paying you. This is easy. That skeleton might have caused problems for me. I'm just a weak, old, frail man. But yeah, so if we end it there, basically you're looking at two giant rats who may or may not attack you.
Yeah, that makes it interesting there. Maybe they talk.
I mean, yes, maybe they do.
Anyways, thank you everyone for joining us for episode 1 of our adventure. Come back next time where you'll see what'll happen next. Are we going to find this kid? What's going to happen? We'll see. Anyway, stay tuned. Take care. See ya.
So long, everybody.